Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday. We have a bunch of stuff to do. Hey, Boomer Tester. Long time no see. Happy third of a year. Thanks for the resub. And hey, Kevin. Yeah, so Hideo's been providing some translation notes for French. Let me fix this mic. He's been providing some translation notes for French, and I have been working on them off stream, but I want to actually finish them today, I hope. I'm actually not even sure how far along French is. I think it's almost done. Yeah, 90%. So when I'm done with these notes, at most we could have like 134 more notes, which is a lot, but I mean, that's at most. So I started this, but let's make a new branch. Check out French translation. All right, it's not even French translation. It's more like update update localization. And maybe something like that. Okay. So let's write this down over here. I have a whole bunch of things to do after this. Merge, update, localization. Yep. And then switch back to main. Read that as Hideo has been annoying Adam with annoying questions. No, they're not questions, they're demands. Hi, Hideo. No, I really, really appreciate what you're doing. And I will happily fix any other issues we have. Some of these that I've been talking to Hideo about aren't great even in English, and I'm trying to make sure that we don't have a ton of work to do to make them equally kind of not great for French. Sick, thank you too for the resub. Yeah, so this is one of the things I want to tackle. I think this will probably take all morning. There are a lot of notes, and I'm generally slower about this when I'm streaming, but that's okay. Today, I'm looking at it like it's an extra day, even though it's not. And yeah, whatever we get done, that's great. And then if there is extra time, I'm hoping in the afternoon we can fix the outro text. We need to make it work for different window sizes and different scale factors. And I have an idea for this. I'm hoping we can just do anchor and then text size and just change this dynamically. But who knows? Hey, Lefches, what's slime in French? I don't know. He's translated the, let's actually go find out. Weblate chef slime. I can tell you what he translated this as. How do we find, here's Japanese, but how do I find, okay, here, probably FR. Yeah, blob. It's probably not pronounced blob, I don't know. It's funny to me. Okay, I don't know where I left off here. Clearly it's less slime. All right, I'm gonna go pull these up on the other screen. Battle map, battle. Okay, yeah. So I see where I left off here. All right, so I'm gonna read these off the other screen. I think it's just easier. Is there a way to close? Is the right side on Discord? I don't think so. Hey, Joss. All right, window controls. We'll show the game in a maximized window. Is window controls correct here? Label seems to be window mode, which sounds good to me, but controls does not. Okay, let's go take a look at that. Yeah, so I have... Yeah, I probably have a few hours of work to do for this. All right, window controls are here. You know what? I think we can just delete the words window controls. I think just showing what they do is probably fine. Yeah, I think we can just delete it. Because I don't think that's a super important bit of text. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory what you're reading when you do that. And if it's not, you can just click them and you'll find out. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. Okay. I feel like a blob champ Twitch emote should take precedence today. That's just me, though. It should. No, you're right. That's everybody. I think we can all agree. Walk into the portal. Can we get some context and some dialogue? Where's this displayed? Okay, let's go get that. A typical hard worker. Oh, you just reminded me. I should have YouTube chat visible. I can't have both of these things visible at once, though. Oh, unless I really shrink this. Hey, Goose. Happy Wednesday. Okay, what was I going to do? Oh, yeah, get the walking to portal thing. So we just do that and then take a picture. No, maybe we should take the picture with more of the game context. Yeah. So I'll tire this and make them go to the portal. And you know what? Sure, send them both in. What do I care? Okay. And then let's write a... This shows when you're starting a battle. All adventurers must walk to the portal in town, shown left of this text box. I'll just say the purple thing to the left. Yeah. Hey, Banjulu list. Excuse me. Full game release before end of year. No, most certainly not. It will be in March, most likely. And we're gonna set a launch date before the end of the year. But yeah, it's gonna take time to finish up these remaining things. You know, actually, we've finally been getting new Steam reviews. I haven't gotten new Steam reviews in forever, and now we got 2 new ones. And they're both positive, thankfully, because this is with the new demo, which I had not like tested with people really. And it might be a little hard to show these. Steam reviews are always like impossibly hard to find. So we have to do this. These aren't so bad, but yeah, December 24th. So this one's today, and this one was a few days ago. This one talked about something kind of interesting here. So if we just look at this text, not like I can understand any of this. We detect, it's going to English. All right, so I find the game quite, I don't know about motivating, but unfortunately, and this seems to be a trend at the moment, only a rather short playtime is offered, 2 times 5 hours in 2 different game modes. So this person liked the game. They left a review that was positive, but they're like, hey, I don't like this trend of, oh, there's only like 10 hours of gameplay. And man, this feels kind of like a punch in the gut to me, because it's like, it took 2 years to get this like 10 hours of gameplay, and this person has had fun. I mean, granted, this is the demo. Hopefully they like the full game too. But I want to find out how I can communicate this in a better way. And maybe, yeah, I don't know. I got to think about this, because this was never intended to be an infinite game. And I think there are plenty of games that are worth the money that are not infinite. I still think of Undertale as being one of those games. Like if you look at how long to beat for Undertale, it's maybe 7 hours, I think. Or is it? Yeah, main story, 7 hours. And sure, there's a completionist stuff. I don't know who actually does this, but the main and extra is a little bit more reasonable at 11. These are probably still higher than the median playtime for people who buy Undertale. And yet, like, most people would consider it a good game. So I don't think it's a problem to not have infinite gameplay. Also, what are these things? Undertale Yellow and Green? I think I've heard of Undertale Yellow before. Undertale 2 Revenge of the Robots. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta go look at this. What is this? Super cool official, not really Undertale real sequel. I see. Boomer Tester, thanks for the gifted subs. And hey, who cares? Welcoming you 5 new subs. Boomer Tester's spending all his money today. I think the launch is probably gonna be on a Tuesday, if I had to guess. So this is walking to the portal. And then we need to go find that on here. Web late, walking to the portal. Your party is walking to the portal. That's not it. What does it say? Walking to the portal. Why am I not? Oh, because there's a 2 up here. Okay, gotta click that. All right, screenshot, add. I want that paste button to come back. Someday after I've uploaded all the screenshots, I'm gonna get that button back. I'm gonna be very annoyed. All right, so walking to the portal. This is just one of the strings, though. The other one is here. Nope. I missed it. Come on. We got to click this and then do it really quickly. Okay, there. I got it that time. Okay. So I'll take a screenshot of that. We'll put that as walking to the portal status, I guess. And then I'll get that for the last string that we had. Yeah, your party is walking to the portal. Add screenshot. Choose walking to portal status. And then I'll link to the other one. Walking to the portal. So that's here. copy, and just say this is similar to this string. And maybe I should say that for this other one. So now copy this one and paste this here and put this for, oh wait, I could just click this, right? Yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay, here's Analytics. Small but helpful supportive dev of the game. Yeah, it is. Thank you very much. Won't even mention how you shamed me in updating my website. Yeah, I think, you know, I thought about the feedback and you prefaced it with all what you were expecting, but I think that sort of nothing's off limits when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, I know you shared a video with me and I ended up commenting on a website, but yeah, I hope it's helpful. Oh, the other thing, I had one other piece of advice that I did not actually message you about, which is I think it's worth getting something out there, even if it's not perfect, because I think experience is what will lead to improvement. And experience sometimes means making mistakes. And I'm going to put mistakes in quotes. What I think is a mistake is not necessarily a mistake. So like, I'm happy to give the, okay, here's how you could potentially improve, but it might still be worth releasing something that's, you know, what you might consider to be not as good. Because otherwise you might make like 7 different videos and just keep them in drafts and never publish them. And this is actually what Cavino did recently, and I'm not trying to call him out, but he had said, oh, I want to get started on YouTube videos, and he changed his stream schedule. And then I was asking like, oh, hey, have you made a video yet? Have you made a video yet? He kept saying, I did one, but then I redid it, and then I redid it again. And it's like, it's probably better to just release it. Because if you look at my channel, for example, even the videos I spent a pretty long time on, let's just click popular here. Okay, so like the keyboard video I spent a long time on, but that one actually did pretty well. But if we look at a lot of these other ones, it's like, okay, switching to Obsidian, this is 11 minutes, and I did this video in one take. Like there were no cuts in the video. It took me a very long time to get to that one take. So I should say it's one contiguous take, but it was like take number 7 or something. So it took me hours to make the video, to write the script, and it got 2,000 views in the end. And I'm happy with this video. I think this is a pretty good video. But now imagine if I wasn't happy with it. Maybe instead of 2,000 views, it would have gotten 190 views. It's not like a life-changing amount either way. And it let me kind of hone my craft. So I think it's still worth it to consider that it's sometimes just good to put something out there, even if it's not the highest quality thing, and then iterate on it afterward. And the nice thing about YouTube as well is that you can always just like delete videos from your channel. So if you have 100 videos and your first 2 were, you know, objectively bad, you could just delete them, and now you have 98 videos. Hey, Flair. Update on the situation, looking more and more like a scam. I went there physically, but the entire building was closed for the holidays. It's a unit building, so I contacted one of the neighboring units, and they said they'll give my contact to the owner. Said the owner was a good friend of his. Interesting. I'm still holding a little bit of hope since I haven't gotten a response back yet from the person I've been in contact with. Means the person works in office hours, which is a good thing. Yeah, I'm glad you have your eyes open for this, because all the signs point to scam, and it doesn't mean that it can't be a scam, but it's just unlikely. But yeah, it's got to be disappointing too, because it's like you've gotten your hopes up. Now, great, like a nice thing about this is that you haven't spent money yet. So I think the worst thing is when you get your hopes up and you spend $2,000 and then you're just out all of that money. So dashing your hopes is never fun, but dashing your hopes and losing $2,000 is especially not fun. All right, so this has been clarified. Next, this cannot target the whatever was already mentioned. Updated dimension 3 is always a spirit caller. Well, I guess it's replaced by the sentence spirit caller, but the capitalization in spirit caller as a standalone sentence won't work. Okay, I should just go fix this. This cannot target the, yeah. So let's just write spirit caller in here. Spirit caller. And then instead of getting the display name, we delete this bit. There. So that should fix this, but now we also need to go update WebLate. So we can delete this thing about the no always refers to spirit caller. And then thankfully, I don't think the screenshot needs to be updated, right? Yeah, no, it does not. Because this is still the same text in English. So, but this string needs to be updated. So I'll copy a link to this, and when we're done with this, make sure that it's good. Ensure this is accurate. We hard-coded spirit caller. I think the one upside of losing 2,000 is you had 2,000 to begin with. I know this is a joke, but for a lot of people who get scammed, they don't really have 2,000. They borrowed it from someone, or it was like their life savings or something like that. So yeah, if you had, $50,000 and you lost $100 or something, it's like, all right, yeah, you learned a lesson and you didn't, break your bank completely. But for some people, they had, 1,000, they borrowed 1,000 and then they lost all of it. And it's just very insidious. Hey, Cypher. Good morning. Done. Can we get a screenshot or context? I should respond to Hideo and just say no. No screenshot. No context. I don't know what this is about either, actually. So let's go find out. All right, what is this for? Where does it show up? Keybind menu. I think it's the button at the bottom. Yeah, it is. Okay. I'll make up context, no worries. Yeah, so I think it's just this. Yeah, there's no way to take a screenshot of this such that I can... Well, actually, there is. I could lower the scale and then edit keybinds and just take the picture like so. It's going to be a little hard to see. You know what I should do? I should take it zoomed in. And I should just stitch together 2 screenshots. No, I should just take a picture like this. Yeah. I think this is still clear enough. Any menu, seeing done at the bottom, it's going to be translated the same way, I bet. Like whether it was keybinds or whether it was adventurer skills and you're changing them, when you're done, you're done. So yeah, let's put this here. Oh, whoops, what am I doing? This is the keybinds menu. The done string shows on this button. And then draw an arrow down to here. Yeah, cool. Just take the bottom, that's enough. I think this is fine. All right, so done. Now we go add screenshot, done, upload. Cool, next up, whenever you heal with this, use this on a random enemy. What is 2? Yeah, that's probably not great. What is 2? Oh, it's a note? Oh, it's a note in parentheses. I should just make 2 strings out of this then. Yeah. I like it more when Hideo tells Adam his comments are useless. Well, that one time I was editing the screenshot, I was trying to clarify, and he did say this doesn't help. So I ended up making a better one. Or 1 string. Well, this string is conditional. It's only when you've unlocked double strike that you see this note. And maybe we can change that. Yeah, maybe we can change that. Let's see. How jarring would it be to see? So where's that show up for? This is for Radiant Retaliation. So I got to level up. Neither of those is Radiant Retaliation. No. No. Oh, yeah, I don't think this is ever a problem. Yeah, I think we can make this unconditional. Well, it just so happens that the unlock order is you get double strike first. So this isn't a problem. If these were swapped, it might be, but it's not. It's not a big deal. So yeah, let's make it unconditional, and then we can just simplify the string. Hey, MD Azilla. I assume you worked in Agile development environments. How did teams manage GitHub repos in Agile, especially if multiple developers were working on different tasks, and how would they be merged into dev, staging, main? Was there a process for that? In general, I don't think it's any different for any other development. You'd use branches for everything. And then the whole dev, staging, main, there would typically be some... Oops. There'd typically be some like release management team or like sub team. And I've seen this done in different ways. Like every once in a while, at one company, it was like a rotating process where there'd be 2 people assigned every X weeks. So like, oh, those are the 2 people who had to manage this stuff. And then it swapped other people. Sometimes it was just a manager who was in charge of it. But yeah, using branches for everything. I mean, this is pretty standard for almost any Git process. But yeah, especially if you're working on kind of similar stuff. Now, the only time I think this gets a little bit tricky is if 2 people are kind of tasked with updating the same sort of thing, in which case whoever's assigning sprint tasks might just be like, oh, let's just hold off on this for a week. But even then, you can still work in different branches. You'll just probably have merge conflicts and it'll be annoying. Or what was I just doing? Yeah, changing this. So whenever you heal from this, and then I'll just write in parentheses here. Okay, so whenever you heal with Holy Light, use Shield Bash. And then this should say this extra Shield Bash is affected by Double Strike. Then Double Strike goes down here. And we don't have a note there anymore. Double Strike name is there. This stuff all goes away. So this is much simpler. I think this is pretty good. Main issue I face is, let's say I worked on 3 user stories. Each user story of mine included last user story's code in it. Should I create my next branch by first switching back to main? It depends on where your code is. So like, let's say you have, I don't know, feature 1, and then you have feature 2 depends on 1. So if you made feature 1 in like branch feature 1, if that's in main, then just branch off of main. If it's not in main, then for like, yeah, branch feature 2. If it's not in main, then branch off of this. Or yeah, stacked PRs. Depending on your commit like tooling, there are different ways of doing this stuff. Like at Google, they had specific tools for this. But yeah, regardless, it's like work based off of the work you need and just where that work happens to be. Once got called into a pit meeting because I said trunk-based dev was superior to GitFlow. You got called into a pit meeting for that? I just imagine you getting called into a meeting like, do you know why we've called you here? You said pineapple on pizza is tasty. That's going to need a performance improvement. I like pineapple on pizza, by the way. Yeah, so whenever you heal with this, use this on a random enemy. So let's go make sure the string is correct. And then I'll... Maybe I don't need to do anything. I think it'll still be marked as fuzzy in Weblate. No, I should still take a picture. Yeah, I should still take a picture. They're independent features. Wait, how are they independent if you said each story included the last story's code? Is this just a coincidence that they did? Because I was going to say, if I work on like a settings menu and I work on some like, I don't know, rendering improvement or something, these are 2 totally different things. You could have a branch with both of them there, but this doesn't depend on the other one. So if there's no dependency, I think you can just make different branches if you want. It doesn't necessarily matter. If there's a dependency though, it's like, well, build on it in the dependency order. So if this depended on the settings menu, then make sure it's all based off of that branch. Hey, TJ. A very controlling senior QA engineer. Took forever to get them to approve a PR. Want us to write code exactly like them. Yeah, for what it's worth, I think this is a lack of perspective. And I think that as people grow in their careers and are hopefully open to feedback, they learn that they're making these mistakes, but some people don't ever learn that. Let's say I made feature 1 and my branch is branch feature 1. When I'm implementing my next feature, I just get branch feature 2 and continue. So technically it still has the code in it. Yeah, you could do that. I think I'd only do that though if there's some dependency, not even necessarily at the feature level, but like let's say you made a function which was helpful, you know, some helpful function, and this was in your feature 1 branch, and you're like, oh well, now I want to use it. Yeah, branch off of your feature 1 branch. If there's no connection though, I'd just make separate branches off of main. Yeah, exactly what Hideo said. Yeah. All right, Paladin. We gotta go look at this again. Yeah, so let's just take a picture of this. Whenever you heal a holy light, use shield bash. This extra shield bash is affected by double strike. Okay. Now where do we put this? Radiant retaliation, because the string is going to change. I'm not sure how Weblate handles this. No, wait, no. Whenever you heal. Yeah, here it is. So I'm going to add a screenshot, but this might not work because we're going to upload this, a new one. So I'll just write a note. We'll copy this and say, ensure this still has the screenshot. Yeah. Okay, next up. You have some typos for roll instead of rolls. Why are these gone? There we go. This wasn't actually a typo. This was one of those, like, in English, when these things don't match, it's okay. But now I realize that they're all independent strings anyway, so we might as well just write rolls. Okay, that's fine. Oh, wait. Oh, we do write rolls sometimes. Okay, never mind. Ignore what I said. Let's see. So where are we missing this? Here. Here. And that's it. Yeah. Sometimes there's two. Yep. I didn't realize that, so thank you. Okay, so that's fixed. Increase enemy stats by 0. Increase enemy stats by this. What is this? A percent or a multiplier? This technically doesn't show in the game right now, but it should eventually. But it's a percentage. So I can't take a picture of it though, that's a problem. So yeah, maybe I'll just write there, increase enemy stats. 0 is a percentage. Yeah. It's a percentage called multiplier. That is how percentages work. Hey, Mahikmar. What next? Ripples in the wind quite stylishly. Can we get more context about what's going on when this is used? Oh, this is just item flavor text. Yeah, and I have an overall comment in my translate document for this, but I don't think it's apparent. Yeah, item description, somewhere outright jokes. All right, I'll just write a comment for this. As mentioned in the translation guidance document, this is for an item's flavor text. And really has no meaning / function. You could just as easily translate this as a large brown cloak, like a scratchy brown cloak if you wanted. But what I should include is that it describes cloak. So let's go look at cloak. Is there a way to just browse these strings? And can I see them all on one page? Yeah. Cloak. I don't think parentheses work like this in Weblate, so I think I have to put a space here. Alt down goes to the next one, doesn't it? Yeah, but I want to see, is there a way to just like look at all the strings on the same page? Because there's a way to do that if you click browse over here. Is there a way to do that with search results? Yeah, this doesn't work. Ugh. All right, well, like I said, we just got to put a space in there. There, now it should work. Yeah, as mentioned, this is for an ancillary text. The item is cloak. Really has no meaning or function. You could just as easily translate this as a scratchy brown cloak if you wanted. Yeah. Well, maybe I should explain, like, the joke here is that this talks about a piece of equipment as your fleeing battle, which is typically not what you would want equipment for in an RPG. All right, there. Okay, next up. Bring this to the whatever to power up all adventures. I think I fixed this one. Bring this to the... Yeah. Guild. Yep, they all say guild now. Wait, what am I doing? I fixed both of these. Why is this... Am I looking through an old note? Hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out how... I did look through this. Hang on a second. Oh, I see. I fixed it. Okay, yeah. Got it. Okay. Died while trying to complete their own quest. Yeah, maybe sent it twice. I think that's what happened. So they died while trying to complete their own quest. This, I think Hideo responded to in a newer message. I'm gonna lose my context, but I'll scroll down. The explanation helped, although it can still be an issue. I worked around it in French by using a slightly different verb with the same meaning. Okay, let's go take a look at that. So weblate. So how do we go to the French one here? French. So I'm guessing this is perished. Yeah. All right. I think this works. Yeah. Yeah. So these are cases where, just for clarification for everyone else here. So 0 gets replaced with a name. Could be Alice, could be Bob, could be someone else. I don't know. I just make up a name here. In English, this doesn't matter. She died, he died, they died. They're all the same. In French, this is potentially different. And in other languages, it might be different too. The problem is we can't just manifest a string like Alice died, ... Bob died. We're not going to have like 36 more of those strings. So we need some gender neutral way of saying this. And Hideo came up with one. But yeah, I think there are going to be some cases where we just don't do like the perfect translation and it'll be okay. Yeah, Paris doesn't do that. I see. Hey, what? It's going pretty well. Working through some stuff, feeling pretty good. Okay, so that one's done. And then the only accepts potion, that one's already finished too. I did that yesterday, but let me just make sure. Only accepts potions. Yeah, I changed that. Glossary idea for others. Chef slime, ugly slime, skeleton, extract. Excuse me. Yeah, I agree. Let's write that down. Add glossary term for chef slime. Hideo also suggested ugly slime, skeleton, extractor. Yep, sounds good. When you think about it, isn't it a bit strange that you turn into a skeleton? Okay. This one down. Okay, so the pun in English is that someone would say unresolved business to mean some kind of like goal or mission that needed to be completed while one was alive. But business here also refers to commerce. Okay. So the first part is a reference to being a skeleton, and the second is a reference to selling stuff. Skeleseller. As some probably don't need a lot of explanation. Some of them come very often. So taking the time to translate the glossary first allows to fly through the translations after. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Yeah. Okay. Next up. All right. So first one, Hideo commented on. Second, you've already turned in all whatever. Is there a way to get this to work in French? Already turned in all. One of the only ways would be if they're all objects and use parentheses to kind of extract them from the sentence. It's definitely different from the original English sentence. Yeah, so I'll take a picture of this in game. And because what's going on right now? Why don't I have the tavern? There we go. I'll take a picture of this in game. Oh, I can't take it for this. I gotta take it for one that has multiple. Yeah, yellow potion is a good example. Okay, so now we gotta go get yellow potions, which we get from here. So just send you all in a battle and win it again and get a bunch of workers and win it again. We gotta get 8 yellow potions, and this is the fastest way to do it without getting boots. That's the important part, because I only want to complete the yellow potion part. So now it's gonna say, oh, interesting. It says found in question mark, question mark, question mark. This seems broken. We'll hit from another account. Ah, you have 2 accounts. What is going on here? This seems wrong. You have already turned in. Get reason why item will not be accepted. Oh, this is a floating text thing. It is weird that this says found in whatever, though. This, well, maybe this is because I cheated. Let me just reopen this. Maybe this will work. No, it's just broken. Huh, I wonder when that broke. Yeah, this is just a bug. Bug, we show question mark, question mark, question mark, even if you've unlocked every location. Note, I did cheat to unlock all locations, but saving/loading didn't fix it. All right, well, that's not even where this thing shows up, so none of that mattered. The part where it matters is if I go get another potion and then click that before the skeletons do. Okay, good. And then click over here. Nope, take a picture. No. Why can't I do this? There we go. Already turned in. That's here. Add screenshot. Oh, no. What am I doing? Translation French. This should be for English. I wonder if I've messed that up before. Why is it not uploading? What's going on? Hello? Hello? Web late? Let me try this again. Huh, what's happening? Why is it not uploading the screenshot? Maybe I need to refresh this page? Did I just change something? No. I can't figure out why. Oh, I just uploaded it for French. Okay, let's see. Does that work for English anyway? Probably not. No, it doesn't. All right, how do we fix this? Here, edit. I guess just remove it from here. If we put it on the English, it'll show up for everything, right? Now I gotta assign it to already turned in. But this is presumably the French one, right? I think I did it correctly this time. All right, so explanation, I'm gonna write this here. Note that this technically doesn't translate well even for English, or not translate well. This technically isn't correct even in English since we don't match pluralization here. 0 can match practically any item in the game. So in the screenshot, you see all yellow potion instead of all yellow potions pluralized. If you can get something equally passable in your language, yeah, I'll just say, please just aim for something equally passable in your language. Hideo mentioned this, that they can use parentheses. What I'm kind of curious about is, like I said, in English, it's not correct. Like if you said, turn in all potion for the quest. This is wrong, but it's like gamer wrong. like gamers are used to seeing something like this. Even in like more reputable games. So yeah, I wonder if there's some way to like still achieve that. So like, sure, the French way might have the wrong thing here too, but maybe if we put it in bold, it'd be obvious that it's like, oh well, it was just plugged in as a placeholder. Anyway, Hideo did say at the end of this that he has a way that he could do this, but he said it's different from the original English sentence. I don't really mind as long as it's clear what's wrong with that. This is technically, this should say potions, because it says turn in all potion for the quest. It should say turn in all potions for the quest. But like I said, I don't think most gamers would be like, yeah, this is bad. It's like all would change. Yeah, but still, is there like, suppose you use the wrong one. Is it what I'd say is like gamer wrong? Hey, Soli. Or is it like terribly wrong? So if you were translating for, the United Nations, you'd make sure that this is correct. It's just wrong. Yeah, but it's just wrong in English as well, is what I'm saying. Is it like cardinal sin of French wrong? Or is it, whatever. Games do this from time to time. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I could potentially try to come up with a better way of doing this. But I think it'd be very hard because we need to come up with a pluralization of like every item. We'd have to translate another like 40 strings for this. And I just don't think it's worthwhile for that. Or we could make it, I think it's more wrong, like first grade wrong. But this is also first grade wrong. Like you learn how to pluralize things pretty young as a kid. And you'll say like, I want 1 apple versus I want 2 apples. So this is still first grade wrong. But like I said, it's not like end of the world. It's only plural in French. It's plural in gender. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, so I guess if you can translate this using the parentheses or something, that would be good. We don't want to start any international wars over a mistranslation. I don't know. Maybe the world needs a translation war. Maybe everyone will just converge on English and I'll skip this problem for everybody. Seems like YouTube blocked messaging. Are you on the right account? Because every once in a while I switch YouTube accounts and I'm like, where did all my content go? Want to know if you're... Oh, yeah. I'm okay with them for sure. Yeah. And let me write that in the explanation then. For example, in French, this can be achieved using parentheses, which is totally fine by me. Hey, Rare Pony. First time chat. Now as a sub. Same channel? Yeah, I'm not sure then. That is strange. Okay, what is 0? Please let me know if there's a way to achieve this in French. Kind of similar to the previous one. We need to extract it using punctuation. So this one, I only have one tiny request. In English, we say stats increased. And what Hideo is suggesting that we change this to is this. This is an extra 8 characters. So if we could somehow, can you shorten this in French to just like stats? Is that okay in French? Or is there a way to like, or could we just say like plus stats? Because this is just a length thing and it's not even a big deal. It shows up as floating text, so it'll just be slightly longer. But I want it to like fit in most zoom levels. Anyway, it's fine either way, I think. It's not like, we have to fit all this onto a button of this size, so we can't use a longer string. It will just show up as a longer string over here, so it could take up like this much space, which would just look a little bit weird, that's all. All right, waiting for full health. Yep, let's go get a picture of that. That's for auto battling. So we need to unlock auto battling, and then we need to die somewhere. So we'll just send you into the final location. And they should die pretty much immediately. And then we just take a picture of the battle window. Cool. Translated another sentence of stats this morning. And stats is meh in French. Purely the math aspect. So I translated it something else, which is even longer. Yeah, the requirement's in the comment already. It says it needs to fit in a semi-small space. It's not incredibly important. But okay, yeah, cool. Sounds good. All right, so let's take a picture of this and then save this over here. And say waiting for full health. Waiting for full health. Here it is. Why is it going to the French? Why is it going to the French? Weblate, hello. It's searching English here. Waiting for full. It's on English here. Why? How did I make it to the French one for that? Huh, strange. Okay, add screenshot. Hey, Fallen. We had to test translations for a public-facing IRS app. That was a nightmare. Give me flashbacks. Well, okay, so this one isn't too bad for a couple reasons. One is we don't have any right to left languages. And two is that a lot of the ways we sort of like smooth out the translation issues is by just changing the string to reduce work. Yeah, this is French, not Canadian French. Just want to say hello, Merry Xmas Eve. Yeah, Merry Christmas Eve to you too. Since your game will be played by a lot of kids and non-English speakers that are learning English, you should always stay grammatically correct. Well, remember, this isn't there. This will be translated into, I think, like 8 other languages. So there isn't gonna, hopefully, there isn't gonna be like some French kid out there playing the English version unless they really want to play the English version. There will be a French version translated by Hideo, and that French kid is gonna learn a lot of French. And let me tell you, it's not Canadian French. This is the real deal. No way I could say that with a straight face. Okay, this is too big. We'll just truncate it. I kid, of course. All right, let's just shrink the window. I'll just take a different screenshot. Now, where I can make that joke is with English and say that American English is the only true English. All right, so it says it hasn't been assigned to a string. I don't know how I messed that up. Waiting for full health at done. I speak Portuguese, but I only play games in English. Do you speak European Portuguese or Brazilian Portuguese? Because I could use some Brazilian Portuguese help. Families from Quebec. I chose to speak, which is super rare. Brazil. Okay. Would you like to potentially help with translations? And you don't have to. You certainly don't have to. But I have a friend who has offered help, and I just don't want her to have to do everything for this. So if I could get like 2 people to potentially work on it, that'd be better. It sounds like a sauce you put on fancy food. It does sound like that. All right, so explanation. This shows in between auto battling to indicate how long you have before you'll be at full health. The duration is always in seconds and can show 1 decimal place, which is handled by C#. So it should be automatically in your locale. And then this happens from this string, I believe, but I'm not positive. Waiting for full health. Duration in seconds, formatted, which is duration in seconds. Yeah. So it uses this. Copy. Truffle fries with a side of broccoli. What is Boomer Tester ordering over there, even in his joke world? And uses this string. Okay, I think that's good. I think it's clear. Okay, waiting for a full health. Done. Get fewer seeds from the extractor. Is it a percent or a number? It's a multiplier, Hideo. Fewer seeds. I'm actually not sure. Oh my god, what is this? It's a percentage. Yeah. The parameter is a percentage. E.g. get 50% fewer seeds. I'll just leave it like that. It's a percentage. Swamp. Oh, totally fine. Totally fine. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Allows you to store more items in your warehouse. Same as above, I guess. Oh, this one is an absolute number. Allows you to store. Whoops. Where is it? Allows you to store more items in the warehouse. Where does this show up? Expanded warehouse. In bone mode? Oops, I didn't mean to click quit. Huh, I meant to click return to title. Hey, Darkstorm, Merry Christmas. Oh, man. I found out... never mind, I was going to reveal something about myself. I've never shared this information on stream, so I'm not going to now, but I almost revealed it, which is like, let's say the region you grew up had like a signature food. And I don't know, maybe poutine's an example of that, but not really. I associate this with Canada, and maybe that's true. But anyway, imagine I was about to be like, oh yeah, I just found out there's a poutine place near me, and I've never had this. I haven't had this in like 20 years or something. It's not poutine that I was about to talk about, but yeah, not going to mention it now. You'll never know what food I'm craving. I eat food. Surprise, I'm a Terran. Hey, Twitch Kizio. I get lost if I try to play some games in my own language. Yeah, it is kind of funny. I suppose it's what you're used to, though, because a lot of vocabulary that you use is exclusive to certain like realms of your life. So, for example, a lot of people will learn how to speak a language, but they won't learn how to talk about politics, for example. Or you know, you might speak a language, but you might not know the video game stuff. So like, would you ever need to know something like Fireball or Ice Blast or whatever if you're not playing video games? Like, this is a term, Fireball, in real life as well. It's not like there's magic in real life, but like Ice Blast, you probably wouldn't say. So yeah, if you're not used to this terminology, I could see it being a little bit jarring in whatever language you speak. Working on Christmas, well, it's Christmas Eve for me, but I probably will be working on Christmas as well. She doxes you every time she streams. But like just the country of origin, because I was gonna say if it actually is something personal, I try not to share that about someone. In fact, I don't even call people by their real names if I know it on unless it's very close to their name here. So if someone is like Mike the Great, I'll call them Mike because it's obvious to everyone. But yeah, I'm not gonna just share that. Hey filler. It's Christmas, take a break. It's not Christmas yet. And I will take a break. What's your opinion about ReSharper? I think you're talking about ReSharper, not ReShaper. I don't think I've explicitly used it. I don't think I've used it. Wasn't this paid at some point? Q&A. Huh. Oh, free trial. Yeah, it is paid. Wait, since when does Visual Studio Code have paid extensions? Huh, interesting. I guess it doesn't really. It's that you need an account and you probably pay through them to get the account. Yeah, so I've never used it. I don't have an opinion on it really. Philip. Thankfully, all updates are async through Slack. No meetings. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, Rider's free. I use VS Code though. I might try Rider at some point, although I've been saying that for a while and I haven't tried it, so maybe that's never going to happen. So store more items in your warehouse. We go into bone mode here, and we need to get pretty much anything. Yeah, let's get that. And then start, and then hope that we got the perk. Hey, nice. We got it. Cool, cool, cool. This one I don't understand, though. No, this is not correct. What am I doing? Hold on. I'm being an idiot. Allows you to store... It's this. This string. Where is this string? Upgrade warehouse. Okay, that one's totally different. Wow. Well, let's save that in case I want that for the future. But, yeah, this one just comes from here. I'd like to take a picture without all these skeletons. Maybe if we do this, they'll all go away. Yeah, nice. No. We also need an armor shop. I don't have the money. Go away, skeletons. There we go. All right, now I can take a picture of this. Not have a million people in the screenshot. Is this too large? No, I think it's fine. Store more in warehouse. Okay, allows you to store 0. Yep. Add screenshot, choose file, store more, done, upload, view. Yeah, nice. And I should write a comment here that this is always going to be greater than 2. The number that shows for this is always 4 at the moment, i.e. you always improve your warehouse by 4 slots at a time. Hey, crows. We're tester. What next? Am I correct that the title and title screen is what you get when launching the game, and the main menu is what you get by pressing escape? In French, we usually have a main menu and a pause menu, but not really a title screen. Main menu. Do we say that somewhere? We do. Maybe we shouldn't have called this main menu. You can continue playing, but there won't be another objective. When you're finished playing, you'll have to quit to the title screen through the, maybe we say the game menu? Or pause menu? Game menu? Or maybe we just delete that? Just say you have to quit to the title screen? Yeah, let's just leave it at that, I think. If you can't figure out how to do this, then He'll probably just quit the whole game. But there's maybe another place where we say this, is there? No, that's it. All right, but let me answer Hideo's question directly anyway. So yes, this is accurate. I've renamed main menu, or I've removed the one reference I found to main menu. Allow me to not use title in French, but maybe main menu, yeah. Okay, I'll paste this in here. All right, a few sentences, different contexts. You talk about chunks of gravel. What is it? There's a few pieces of rock gravel, but not a lot. Literally a piece of rock gravel, like 1/3 of a rock, or maybe something similar to chunks in a video game, like an area. Yeah, so I think this is all when referring to the golem. But I wonder if French is going to have a problem with this because Hideo keeps talking about greater than or equal to 2. Gravel absorbs more damage. Wait, all of these refer to... All these refer to the skill. All right, this one might be a little bit harder to answer. So this should always be in reference to the golem, which is literally a big, like a humanoid rock. The gravel is an ability they have, which makes how do we take a picture of this? Here. And here. All right, so we put the golem now into a battle against this. We'll see. I want to take a picture. Nope, without the slash. Yeah, want a slightly better picture. There we go. Okay. Gravel chunks. I assume this picture helps answer this, but I'm not sure. Wait, what is this the string for? Yeah, so this is the description for the gravel ability. It makes chunks of rock appear on the golem. Visually appear on the golem, or like, yeah, appear on the golem. I don't know if this answers your question, Hideo. So if it doesn't, please let me know. Talk about chunk of gravel, what is it? A few pieces of rock. Yeah, I think it does, but I'll just write. I mean by chunks, answer with chunks in the reply, but it does. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'll just write, I updated the screenshot here. Okay, next is doubling chance. Can we get some context? So we need context for a lot of these other ones. I'll just respond to Hideo with this. Okay, so the last ones that we need are this. So doubling chance. I don't know where that even shows up. I think it's double strike. Oh no, it's item potency or whatever. Yeah, the loot spell. Okay, I'll take a picture of that. Right here. Okay. Whoops. Hey, Caleb's. Follow just the side of that amazing split keyboard. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, I really, really like this keyboard. Doubling chance. Okay, so let's go put this in here. Doubling chance. Add screenshot. Upload. And then we'll write an explanation for this. The only, at the time of writing, this only shows, this column only shows for loot magnet. Late loot magnet. Here, copy. See attached screenshot. Save. Stay for the bone mode. So in case, I don't think you know this, Boomer Tester, but bone mode, the bone stands for business optimization via new expansions, because this is the roguelite version of Skeleseller, where you're presented with random choices. So like you got to keep rerunning the business to become optimal. So you're expanding a lot. Next up is buying one. Yeah, Darkstorm just got one. The French one is even longer. I think that's okay because it only shows in one spot. Yeah. Health decrease, same as above. Okay, let's go find that. Health decrease shows probably in one spot if I had to guess. Yeah, improved Heart of the Forest. Yeah, this is definitely not going to be obvious to people. Where is that? Here. I guess we just need a picture of this. I have a love for keyboards, but I also solely use Corsair keyboards with Cherry MX Browns, and I require a numpad. So I require a numpad. I used to think this way about a lot of things. I used to think like I require an escape key at the upper left of the keyboard. And this part in particular used to be really important to me because by like just feel, you could move your pinky finger to where the escape key was. And if it wasn't exactly there, then I'd mess up. And some keyboards did some like weird stuff with this. So if we just look at some random keyboards here, it's like this one is a, well, I can't see when I zoom in like that, I guess. Yeah, so like here, there's a distinct escape key up there, but some of these do, no, there's no weird ones here. Well, I remember this being annoying on some keyboards and now I can't remember why. Maybe it was just the positioning of it. But yeah, anyway, I used to think this stuff about myself too. And then I tried a keyboard like this and I'm like, oh, I get it now. It all makes sense. So like I have a numpad essentially. This keyboard, while I can type letters and everything, I can also just hold this key and now it is a numpad. So it's pretty much exactly like what you're used to. I can type all the numpad stuff that you have. And I can add in anything else. Like usually with numbers, you want like a colon there too. So that's now on my numpad. So if I want to type something like a date, 12/24 colon, I can do that all from my number layer and then type a space and be like, I don't know, code of the game or something like that. Mac laptops got rid of the escape key for a while or tried to put it on a touch bar. Yeah, that was, I hated that. I had a Mac with a touch bar and I rarely used it as a laptop. It was usually connected and just like sitting on my desk. So I could just use a regular keyboard. But when I tried using that keyboard, it was annoying. And actually I have this problem with my Arturia Mini Freak. So this keyboard, which whoops, that's not, I just want to show a picture of this. Yeah, here. So these keys, these 6 are like very, very sensitive touch keys. Actually, all of the ones in that row are very sensitive touch keys. So like you just tap your finger on it and you enable it. And because these keys are so shallow, I accidentally like hit one of these and then mess everything up. So I kind of wish that they'd made those physical keys and not touch keys. Yeah, I had that same problem on the Mac when I was using it. Some of the macro keys would be to the left. Yeah. Like you're so used to, oh, the edge of the keyboard is going to be where escape is, and then it isn't. All right, so yeah, we got to get a picture of this. Did I save this? I don't even think I made a new picture. Yeah. And this is for what, health reduction? You can't move this dialogue? Huh. I don't think I ever knew that. Health decrease is what it's called. And I want to put that in here. Health decrease. Here it is. Add screenshot. All right, I want to put in the same thing I did here. So at the time of writing, this column only shows for improved Heart of the Forest. Let me put that here. Cool. I modified my chord in a way that some motions are somewhat similar to what I was used to on a regular keyboard. Like I use quotation mark, or for quotation mark, I use the right third thumb key plus M. And similarly with home row mods. Yeah. What should be the time in milliseconds before one shot key is released? I make it very long for any dual function key that I press often. So like space and O is where I do this on my keyboard. So I add an extra like 125 milliseconds for here, and I add an extra, I think like 50 milliseconds here. Because it is incredibly frustrating when you accidentally trigger those things. If you don't have it on a frequently used key, like let's say it's, I don't know, maybe you have an extra column and you very rarely press those, and yeah, you can just set it to whatever you want. But for anything you frequently use, it's like, I don't want that activating something else. So yeah, somewhere in the probably like 100 to 300 millisecond range. Hey, Harshdev. Welcome in. All right, what's next? Health decrease is done. So let's go close every other tab and just put these here. Minimum hunger. I think this is for the garbage slime. And just for one ability again. Yeah, recycler always hungry. All right, how do we get a picture of that? We need to get the full upgrades over here. Does it show now? No. Does it show now? Yes. I love that icon. Look at how great that icon is. So amazing. All right. So go plug this in over here. This is minimum hunger. And Weblate minimum hunger. Better feedback. Thanks very highly. High praise. When the robot uprising happens, I'll be fine. They'll be like, no, not that guy. He gave good feedback. All right, and then I'll put the same comment that we put over here. And this is for, what's it called? I don't know what it's called. I'm always hungry. I'm always hungry. Yeah. Copy, paste, fix, copy again. Fix this. And put that over here. All right, and then the next one is value bonus. Value bonus. I think this is for food. I think it's spicy cooking. Oh, there are 2 places? Wait, really? Okay, that might not be a good idea. This might not work in French. Item sales are worth more. This is like the literal definition of value. But then the other one, well, I'll leave it to Hideo to tell me, but the other one is for, no, they're both for money. Never mind. Yeah, they're both fine. I thought they were for crops in one case and money in another case. I was like, that probably won't work. But these are both for money. So I'll just take a picture of them both. It's shiny loot and critical eats. Shiny loot. Good. So this is, what's it called? Value bonus. Value bonus 1. And then critical eats for the other one. Here it is. And they should both be percentages. Yeah, they are. Value bonus 2. Add screenshot. All right, add the first one. Cool. View, add the second one. View. And I'll just say at the time of writing, this column is used for 2 abilities. See screenshots. In both cases, the value refers to how much gold you get per action, either selling an item or feeding an item to the garbage slime. Well, how much? Yeah, that's fine. I think it's clear enough. All right, so that brings us to the final one here, which is that Hideo said it's impossible to replicate in French. Would Los Angeles, play on Los Angeles, be too modern for the game? I think it would work. Yeah, I think it would work. I think it's good. We need to add that to the glossary. So I'll write, maybe reference the French translation. This would be the hardest part. Yeah, puns are generally pretty tough. I think Hideo did a good job here. I don't know how hard it's going to be in other languages, but even if it's impossible, like I should say, if a translator doesn't, or like can't come up with something good, even just like Skeleton Town is fine. Or a non-pun name. I'll just say even a non-pun name like Skeleton Town is fine. Yeah, so worst case scenario, it doesn't need to be clever. It just needs to refer to a place that the player knows is like your town. So how often does this show up in the game, though? Let me see. The very first place you see it is in the very first dialogue. This might not work. Man. I better know if you want something else. Yeah, let me think about this for a sec. So let's go into the game and see what this would show up as. Because I'm trying to picture what it would feel like. First of all, if I'm playing in French, the odds are probably not that I'm living in the US. You've probably heard of Los Angeles. And you'd appreciate the pun. But it is now the name of your town. And I wonder if that would be off-putting at all. So let's not skip the tutorial and see. So here's what would happen if you're a new player. You'd load up the game. You would only see play game here. We have 3 buttons, but they'd only see play game and quit. So you'd click play game. It would not pop up dialogue. You'd click new. It would go to the intro. It'd play out the whole how you died thing. And then this is the next thing you'd see. So I've got the land for Los Angeles, but I need adventurers to do battle for me. And at no point would you know that it's your town, I guess. I am a little torn. Oh man, I don't really know. Like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. So in English, if we had called it Skeleton Town, I wonder if this would be any better or different feeling. So I've got the land for Skeleton Town, but I need adventurers to do battle for me. If only I had a guild. So it's this versus this. Skeleton Town. You know, I feel like we could sort of bypass this a bit. We could get around the potential confusion / oddities by just having a you founded, Los Angeles sort of thing. That way, referring to it later wouldn't be jarring. New or medieval fantasy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like, if I saw this in English, like, let's say we didn't have the pun at all, would I be like, oh, yeah, that's my town now? I guess because I'm a skeleton, I would assume so. Yeah, I think I would assume that. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. So I wonder if in French we just changed it to something like I've started a town. I shall call it, Los Angeles. I need adventurers now. Like that would be better if it's going to be a little bit confusing because here it's a name that doesn't, like, the pun is farther removed from it being obvious that it's your town. Hey, Thornity. Yeah, I'm not sure. And what I'm trying to figure out is, could we just call it Skeleton Town in French? Like, is that bad? Does it have to be clever at all? Okay, out of curiosity here, let's take a look. So let's click English here and French here and search for town. And now village. Township. City. What are other synonyms for this? Nah. Nah. Could you do something like this? I'm not gonna try to come up with things. All right. Skeletville works, but it feels like no effort or AI. The no effort part I think is okay. I don't think it would feel like AI, right? Like in naming towns, people are not very creative even in real life. I mean, this Impal, that'd be pretty good for English. No good translation, just a normal English name should be fine. Yeah, I guess that's another choice you could do, is just keep the English name, and it wouldn't make sense in French, but you'd still at least know how to pronounce it. But town doesn't look very close to what it looks like in French. So yeah, if we called it like Skella Village, Skellaville in English, then calling it that in French without changing anything, well, you'd probably change the spelling, but then I guess it'd be fine. Skellaville. So it doesn't look like a word. It's not a word, but it doesn't look like one either. All right, I think my conclusion is that I'm on the fence about this, which probably means we should come up with something better. I still like my municipal joke. Hey, Maya. Sounds kind of random, improbable city name, but actually that's prefix used for some. Yeah, that could. That sounds good. Yeah. Skeleton Town is fine. Yeah, yeah. Relative grading got B minus. Wow. All right, good. Awesome. Okay, so what are we doing now? We are checking everything in, making sure I didn't do anything stupid here. Yeah, this is all fine. Because I think I left in the skip tutorial thing, which is less funny. Maybe that's what the game needs and why I asked. Well, so if that was our like drop the microphone joke and we only have one of those in the game, I'd be like, all right, yeah, we got to spend some time here. But there's other humor in the game, and even just how you died, even if you didn't translate any of that, it's like you were on your very first quest and you died. Like, that's pretty funny. So yeah, I don't think it needs to be super important. The other thing is that in terms of number of places it shows up in the game, it is, wait for it, because we can delete all of these. It is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, there's only 5 places it shows up in the game. One of them is text that a player will probably never see, which is this one, because you have to click the NPCs to see this. And the other ones all players should see. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's keep going through these. So double strike, this was simplified. I like that. This is me fixing some typos, also good. This is good too. These are the changes I made yesterday after the stream. By the way, I got done with that in real life stuff that I was talking about yesterday that I said took like extreme priority over everything else. I was like very anxious. I had to go somewhere and the person's like, "Are you in a rush?" I'm like, "No, I'm just really anxious." They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." But it's all done now. Okay, I do need to read through these just to make sure we're not missing anything here. Yeah, this, yes, this is the part we're missing. Gotta delete that. Cool. All right, where'd that go? Unspent skill points. Where'd the unspent skill points thing go? It was here, and then I clicked a button, and it just like shifted, and I can't find it anymore. I'll have to search for it in a little bit. Treasure room. Oh, here it is. Wow, that scrolled a lot then. This adventure has unspent skill points. Yeah, okay, we got rid of that. This, whew, gotta put that back. And that's everything. Yeah, pretty nice. Sorry, just think about bones and potions. I'm sorry, what? No, I meant, would your bones make for good potions? Oh. Update translations. This is all based on Hideo's feedback. I think it's good. Yeah, what's your blood type? Have you ever donated blood? How much blood? How much blood is in your body right now? Could I have some of that blood? Excuse me, sir. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. All right, so now what we would do is we would update Weblate, and I have a process for this. So we should just be able to follow the process. But I was thinking about this before I fell asleep last night. Fun stuff to think about, which is, should I lock everything first? Yeah, I think so. Like before you've even committed or pushed. Because in the time it takes you to lock things afterward, someone could make another change and then you have a merge problem. So you should lock things first. Okay, so let's cross our fingers on this one, huh? So we go to project, Skeleseller, operations, repository maintenance, and then lock everything. So everything's locked now. No one can make any changes. Although weirdly, it says 0 pending units here. Well, wait, let me take a look at this off screen for a sec. Your branch is up to date. Huh. Why did I think there were changes in between when I did this last? Oh, I could go check. We could just go to the translations repo and see when I did this. 4 hours ago. What? I wasn't even awake 4 hours ago. How did Hideo update this? Oh, maybe locking pushes? Did it say it did something? No, then it would be 0 minutes ago. This is you, yeah, but how did it get to GitHub? The only way that should be possible is if you clicked commit and push, and I don't think you have permission to do that, right? Is it regularly? Maybe, yeah, maybe it does it regularly. I didn't know it did that. How good is AI at game development, or does it still write sloppy code? I think it depends on how much code you already have for how good it is at pretty much anything. So if you're working from scratch, it's probably not great, but if you have a bunch of precedents and you feed it some files from your game, I think it'll do a pretty good job. Yeah, I did not realize Weblate did this automatically. And if that's the case, that's totally fine. I always thought it was, but I can confirm I don't have permissions. I don't even have these buttons. Okay. Yeah, by the way, if you want, you can see the page here, so you don't need to go to that yourself. How do I search for this? Weblate, like automatic commit. Whoop. Auto commit. Provides functionality to automatically commit and push. Feature ensures the translation changes are synchronized efficiently. Below are the steps and configurations to enable and manage auto commits. Navigate to component settings. Enable the push on commit. Lazy commits. Wait, hold on. Okay, so automatically receive changes. Where's automatically push changes? What are lazy commits? Group commits from the same author into one commit if possible. It greatly reduces the number of commits. Okay, I understand this. I gotta find the settings for how you do this. I would think it'd be on this page, but it doesn't look like it's there. Repositories? Like I said, this is not necessarily a problem. I just want to ensure that this is configured, because otherwise I might run into issues down the line. Push just changes automatically if push on commit in component configuration is turned on, which is the default. But that's on commit. Does it commit automatically? Does Weblate commit automatically? It's push changes on every commit. When does Weblate commit or push changes directly? Hey, RS. I think you're looking for like a follow age, alias followed, follow age. And either way, the response to that is just click your profile. So if you just click this, it tells you following since 2016. So you've been here for a long time, and that was your second chat message. So how does it happen? See docs for information when a commit will happen. Mode are committed once any of the following conditions are fulfilled. Somebody else changes the change string, a merge, an explicit commit, a file download is requested, changes older than period defined as age of changes to commit. So it does look like this is defined in component configuration. So let me go take a look at that. Components, script, settings, version control, age of changes to commit 24, time and hours after which any pending change will be committed. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know about this. All right, that's good to know. It by default, components will automatically commit after a certain amount of time, configurable via the components settings version control. Age of changes to commit. Oh wait, there's a documentation link for this. They'll also automatically push to get. Hey, Probos. Where's the automatic push happen? Where can I read about that or link to that? I think it's on here. Pushing changes. Translation of a push, blah, blah, blah. There was something I just saw on this earlier. I had it open already. Push on commit. Here it is. Yeah, that's all on. They'll also push to get by default. MREF. And what's that called? Push on commit. Push on commit. I'll change this slightly so that it looks like this. There. Okay. Again, did not know about this. Don't consider it to be a problem. But if there was a permissions issue or something, or I don't know, any number of things could have gone wrong. So that's why I don't need to lock this. I wonder if I was confused by this in the past and didn't think it was possible. If they weren't automatically done already. Okay, so we've already done this step. Now pull from dev machine. So ScalaCeller, games, submodules. Here, git pull. So these are all of Hideo's changes. So now we're up to date. Now make a new branch and then generate new stuff. Generate .po and .pot files, modify translations, etc. I'm on main branch to a new branch. So I should have all the changes. So yeah, I should just be able to click this. Here. Okay, that's done. So now we have a new scenes file. This should have, what did we do? The outro. It should have all the outro stuff. Yeah, watch outro, watch the final cutscene, and then every string from the outro, and then the little changes I made here too. Back to adventuring, dedicate my life to the shop, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. So that's now done. And then we generate the scripts files and then PR those changes. So now we should have all of these. If we go look at French, for example. Whoops, wrong file, this file. So we should have all the changes. These are just line numbers. This is now made fuzzy, but why? Because of this changing. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Good, 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 good. Okay, nice. So we're just going to say update translations. Publish. Go to that repo. Merge it. Create. Merge. Then switch back to main. Yeah, I think that I can just copy this whole thing. Over here. And over here. Nice. And then unlock on WebLate. WebLate project, repo maintenance, unlock. And there we go. So now we have a lot of follow-ups. So the notes are done. We got to add some glossary terms. I don't want to look at those just yet, though. Let's bump this to the bottom. I want to do these other things because they should be pretty fast. And I got to merge my branch that we had here. This added item string. Whoops. Okay, well, let's do that. Hey, Lupo. When's the release? It'll be in March. I have not picked a date yet, but I want to pick a date in the next week. So I'm thinking like March I think it was like 17th. I don't know for sure though. Let me take a look at the calendar. Why is this not opening the calendar? What am I doing? Just pressing the wrong key. March. Yeah, I was thinking March 10th or 17th. Probably one of those 2 days. But I haven't settled on it yet. When I have settled on it, it should be on the Steam page. And right now it just says Q1. But yeah, I gotta finish that. All right, so what are we doing? Generate new translation files, add explanation or screenshot or both for the outro. Oh yeah. I need to do that. Do I have a picture of this already open in Affinity? I probably don't. It'd be nice if I did. No, I don't think I do. No, that's too bad. Because getting to this is going to be a little bit annoying. It's not super hard to do though. So let's see. We need to load the game. And then watch. Oh, nice. It's already there. Watch outro. Yeah. So I want to take a picture specifically of the part where there's a bunch of text on the screen at once. And maybe even what happens before that. So like this. Then we have just a little bit of time to get back to this. Okay. Let's get a picture of this whole thing. There. So now we gotta go find those strings. Back to adventuring. Yeah, so everything that's near this string. Oh man, all right, this is gonna be a little bit annoying. So we want this, 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 this. This is I've been worked to the bone. Where's that over here? Here it is. This, 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 and this. So how many strings did I just open? Because it should be 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, perfect. So I want the same explanation for all of these. This string and nearby strings with this same explanation all show at the same point in time after the adventurer in the outro cutscene says cool back to adventuring, which we want to get here. Where is it? Got it. How come Mac is able to do game development? I've read or heard that heavy games made in UE5 require x64 architecture. I'm confused. I don't think there's any problem with Unreal on Mac. I think the problem is that a lot of multiplayer games have an anti-cheat and they only ever end up implementing it for Windows. And I don't know how much of a problem this is with emulation layers and everything. The other problem that people face is that in order to build for Mac, you need a Mac. So a lot of developers, they just happen to have a Windows machine and they happen to be working on like an indie game and they don't have a Mac. So they just build it for Windows and maybe Linux and no one gets a Mac version, but it would probably run on Mac. Probably run just fine. So yeah, I think those are the biggest reasons why people don't have more games out for Mac. Don't have more games available. Oh, whoops. Oh, no. I had a string typed there. I just happened to write it as my notes as well. All right, anyway, this string and nearby strings with the same explanation show during the ending cutscene after the adventurer says, cool, back to adventuring. They all indicate your character's indignation over the presumptions of the poisoned adventurer. Well, the adventurer, yeah. You don't buy Mac to game, rather to show off. I don't know what the context of this is. But I don't think people, I'm sure there are some people who are buying things to show off, but I don't think that's like the main reason to buy a Mac. Also, please don't segment your messages. How is Godot different from Unity or Unreal Engine? They're just different engines. If you mean, as a response to what you said, I don't think there's a significant difference. They're all pretty much the same in that they should all be able to target any operating system. And it's just a matter of, does the developer care about that operating system? So for example, you might be making a game for Windows and Mac, and you might not want to make it for Android because it's just not a mobile game. So do they care about it? What does it take to actually do that? And then can they build for it? So like I said, with Mac, it's like, well, you pretty much need a Mac. And even the cheapest Macs are not cheap when you buy them new. So you might get an old one and maybe need to upgrade after a while or something. But like if you're on a shoestring budget, buying a $200 computer just might not be a thing you care about. Maybe you're like, oh, well, whatever. Mac gamers are only 10% of gamers or something. So let's just not target that 10%. What's kind of interesting is I have, let me see if I can show this. This is not totally accurate. Wait, no, I don't even think I can show this. Oh, wait, here we go. Okay, so here is the wish list for Skeleseller. Like I said, this is not totally accurate, but you can see Mac has 62 wish lists and Windows has like 3,600. So if you saw numbers like this and you're just like, should we even bother targeting Mac, like, or Linux for that matter? Like 100-ish wish lists aren't nothing, but that's 1/36 of the Windows amount. Now, like I said, that's not super totally accurate. Also, if it is pretty cheap for you to do something, it's like even increasing your user base by 10%, that might be a significant amount of sales, depending on what your total sales are. Is Strangeverse. None of these strings show for too long on the screen. They're intended to be quick, like rapid fire text. Yeah. I gotta make this string better. Squidward, if you're a real person, please send a different message. Because I didn't fully read that before purging it, but it was something like, hey, I want to improve. Here's my site. I take many exceptions to this. One, that it's your first message here and like you're asking me to do work for you. Like, come on. I mean, you don't just show up to random Twitch streams and be like, hey, go check out my thing, regardless of what you're doing right now. But second, like you're advertising your own site, and I don't even know if your site is legitimate. It could be malicious. It could be just trying to get people there. But yeah, this is not the kind of thing I meant the chat to. Yeah, that's still problematic. I don't know if you realize why, but like I said, imagine if I was coming into whatever, your house, and I'm like, hey, here's my game. You should play it. You should give me feedback. Also, everyone who's in your house should give me feedback. It's like, yeah, that's not really a thing you should probably do. It's funny, they're only 3 or 2, depending on how you look at it, different operating systems. I mean, there aren't a lot of desktop operating system flavors, like overall flavors, but if you drill it down into different ones, like Windows is not just one operating system. You have all the different versions of Windows, and at any given time, like 3 are currently in support, maybe 4. Kind of the same thing with Mac, kind of the same thing with Linux, except for the Linux is split up into all the different, like, the window managers, the actual, like, base packages that they have. Yeah. Would anyone be upset if I broke into your house to make them play Skeleton? All right, so this string and nearby strings show during the ending cutscene after the adventure says cool, back to adventuring. They don't show for very long. They're intended to be rapid fire indications of your character's indignation over the presumptions of the adventure. Yeah, this is pretty good. I like this. All right, so we want to put this on all these strings. We had 9 of them, and they start with this. And I want the same screenshot for all of them too, which we'll get after, but let's make sure the formatting of this is good. This should also link to the right thing. It does. And it should link with HTTPS. It does. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's comment that there. Explanation. I wonder if there's a better way to like group these strings so I don't need to copy paste this 9 times. Yeah. Well, we only have 2 more times. Not very exciting work, but it's done now. So what are you working on? Well, right now, what I'm doing is working on some of the translation stuff that we had. What you're looking at is Weblate. This is a community translation tool. So in Skeleseller, we have a bunch of strings, and they're made for English. And I can really only be confident in the English strings that I have. So I need to enlist the help of other people or AI to get the other strings, and this platform helps do that. So right now, what we're doing is adding context for translators. And in particular, this one is about the outro of the game. I think this is gigantic. Yeah, it is. So I'm gonna have to export this at a different file size. How do we get to the second one? Yeah, so go back to adventuring. All right, I want to just take the whole screenshot and save it. So let's just shrink this to 1920 by 1080. That should be fine. Export this as like back to adventuring, and then export the next one 1920. Export this one as response to, or like back to adventuring response. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, by the way, the segmenting rule, I do want to remind everyone about this. I have basically one unusual chat rule, and it's try not to segment your messages. They appear for a very short period of time. Are they like not meant to be read anyway? It's meant to be that you read like 1 or 2 of them maybe, and you get the gist of it, and they all pop up pretty quickly. So like if you were to read them, you'd kind of get the same sentiment from any of them. My wife suggested that I put these into thought bubbles, which maybe I'll try out if there's time to do that stuff. All right, so we want to put the same screenshots for all of these now. So choose file, back to adventuring, and back to adventuring response. There we go. Yeah, I understand Strangeverse. Yeah, I know it takes some getting used to, and some people, it still rubs them the wrong way, but it's one of the few things. Kind of hard to read them now. Kind of hard to read them because of the time or because of the like actual text itself? Because they're not intended to be illegible. They're just intended to show up pretty quickly. So like back to adventuring, I would expect people to read because it's on the screen for the longest, and then probably the stupid entitled adventurers because it's huge in red. But the rest of this, yeah, they're rotated. They're sometimes a little bit smaller. So any individual string, like I said, should be legible. So we added an outline. Maybe we can make that better. But they don't stay for very long. So I want those same screenshots on everything else. Can we easily do that? There's some way to find this, and I never remember how. What happens if I click add screenshot here? Can I? No, I can't. Oh, I could do this. Scan for screenshot file change. No, that's not what I want. Man, I don't remember how you get to the screenshot page. Oh, here we go. Screenshot details. I didn't realize that was even there. Oh, nice. Okay, so then we can just search for this, right? Show during the ending cutscene. Maybe that'll be good enough to find it. Search. Nope, it's not. Oh, man. All right, maybe we search for outro antidote. That doesn't work either. Come on. There's some way to find this, I think. Yeah, I ended up figuring that out. And thank you, Hideo. Probably because there's nothing underneath to make it read better, even if you end up reading one of them. Maybe that's just me. So wait, again, are you talking about legibility or are you talking about the duration? Because it sounds like you're talking about legibility here. In which case, we should improve legibility. Yeah, okay, yeah. I can write that down. Should at least improve the legibility of them. Maybe more of an outline or a shadow. Yeah, this is VS Code. Yep. All right, so there's some way to search for this. I want to find out how. Search. Is there an explanation? There's no explanation. Maybe it's description? No. Wait. Note nearby. No, that does not work. I will figure this out. Can we do this? Oh my goodness, it cannot be this hard. There's source string location. Location strings. Aha. There. Now delete that. All right, and then I guess we want it to be in English. Can I just paste this over here? Oh, cool. Okay, great. Yeah, so dedicated my life to this shop. Add. Just wanted to be an adventurer myself. Candy see I'm a skeleton. Worked the bone. No one got me an antidote. Struggled so much. Stupid entitled adventurers. Okay, so we should have 9 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, perfect. All right, so I just copy this query and we put it on the other image. So this was cool back to adventuring. Now we want it for, just view any of these. And go to this one, and then go to this one, and then type this in. And yeah, put it on all these. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the original one. So that should make 9. Great. So that is done. That is done. Extract strings for each adventure. Oh, whoops. I forgot to do this. Oh, no. Yesterday I was going through what Hideo gave feedback on, and some of them I thought, this isn't really worth doing right now. Like the cat was on my lap. It was about to be feeding time. So I just saved it on my to-do list, and I forgot that I put it there. Well, let's go back and do that afterward, I guess. Let's do the other ones first. So I'll save these for the end. Yeah, it's too bad. Okay, so ensure this still has a picture and then it makes sense. These ones should be pretty quick. Let's close every other tab that I have open. No string found. That's not good. That's not good at all. It's especially not good because I don't know what this was supposed to be. There was just a checksum here. Oh, man. So these links are not resilient to change. Oh, man. Well, this one, I guess we can test because I know... No. We know that this is supposed to have spirit color in it. So I can find out what this string used to be at least. But this is going to be annoying. Yeah, here's the string. And what did I write for this? Ensure this is accurate. There's no explanation anymore. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I wonder what you're supposed to do in this case, because this must be very common that you update a string and that you want it to keep the screenshots and stuff. The other problem is I don't know what this was even supposed to be. ensure that this still has a picture and that it makes sense. Like, I don't know what this referred to. Well, now we have a new task. Figure out how you're supposed to keep screenshots / explanations on a string if you update that string. Yeah, there must be some way to do that. Problem is, I'll never figure out what this was supposed to be for. I guess I put all the images in my temp folder. So if we just sort by time, date, modified. And it was yesterday, so it must have been one of these like 4 things, right? I guess it can't be that hard to find. So adventurers, let's go search for that. I didn't change this though, so it probably shouldn't be this one. And how you do this? Like source adventurers? There's some way to search exactly. God, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. You click this and it's source : adventurers. Oh, and I want that to be the entire string. Oh, source : equals. Tab title button. Yeah, this doesn't have a picture here anymore. Or maybe I never put it there in the first place. All right, well, add screenshot, I guess. Maybe I didn't do it because... wait, no, this is the tooltip. Never mind. I probably do have this in there. That's probably okay. Somehow I have a way to ensure persistent ID somehow, even after updating it. Yeah, I'm not sure, but WebLate probably has an answer somewhere that I'll have to look up and try to find out what I'm supposed to do about it. All right, so it's not that one. What about stats increased? What does this just say? Stats increased? Nah, this still has a picture. There are only 2 other ones, tip and unspent skill points. So source : equal tip. That one's fine. And then unspent skill points. This does not have a picture anymore. Yeah, this does not have a picture. It doesn't have an explanation. Oh, so annoying. Are you not proxying your website on Cloudflare on purpose? What do you mean? It's going through Cloudflare. I might not be understanding you. So wait a second. No string in the code base is going to use this screenshot right now. So if I upload this, yeah, it says assigned to 1. I wonder how I could find that explanation. All right, so it's this string. Let's copy that. Oh man, this might break a bunch of links though. That's the real problem. Probably have a lot of broken links since I thought the link button gave me a permalink to a string. It's leaking your Hostinger? What is that? I don't even know what that is. Lithuanian web hosting company. I think there's a misunderstanding here. My guess, and I don't know for sure, but Cloudflare probably does some sort of like edge caching, and it's probably doing it through whatever this Hostinger is or something like that. Because like I've never heard of this service in my life. Let's see. So yeah, I don't have the explanation anymore. The 0 is an exclamation point from the. Will also show on the adventurers like icon. See attached screenshot. No, I'm self-hosting it, and I've just got a Cloudflare tunnel pointing at it. So all traffic is already proxied through Cloudflare. But whatever IP address you're seeing, there's no way it's mine because of how Cloudflare tunnel works. Unless you're seeing it because of some like WebLate exploit or somewhere that it shows on WebLate because it knows its own IP address. But that ideally shouldn't be there. Hey, TayScript. Yeah. So none of these things are still going to work now. Yeah. I mean, I could look through all these other ones. It's probably going to be tedious to do. This is all just today. How do I sort more granularly here? I want to find... I want to... Like, they're all alphabetical, but there's no way I made them in alphabetical order. I know for sure I didn't because I did walk into the portal before value bonus. So how do I see the exact, like... Maybe in a list? Ah, here we go. Okay, this is correct. Oh, wait, but this... I wrote this note yesterday? Or did I write it today? Oh, man. I don't know. It's just a mess. All right, let's look up what WebLate wants us to do for this. Maybe now's the time. So WebLate update string, lose explanation, and screenshots. Translation process. I don't think it's going to be it. I want to find the updating. I think I have a WebLate command, by the way, but I think it's, yeah. Some history activities are missing after manually updating the translation file in the repository and pushing the changes. History for a string is deleted only in case the string is removed. Seems to be some issue with the update, which is causing removing the strings and later adding them back. Most of the strings are removed for a while and later added back. All their histories are lost. Okay, this is not the case I'm in. Well, maybe it is, but I'm not intentionally doing that. Weird name for a website for translations. Is it weird? It's Web plus Translate. They turned it into WebLate. I think it's a pretty straightforward portmanteau. I think that's... Yeah. Census is showing an Ubuntu machine hosting it from Hostinger. Later, check Cloudflare to be sure to make... To be sure, in the DNS zone, it shows your main site is proxied via the orange cloud icon. I mean, showing an Ubuntu machine hosting it from Hostinger or whatever is kind of proof I don't have to worry about anything. Like, I'm not running on an Ubuntu machine. I've never heard of this provider. It's not my IP address. I don't actually think there's a problem there. Yeah. All right, so here it sounds like this was maybe an unrelated issue. Discovery, adding new translation string fails silently. There's got to be a way, like update string, keep history. Keep the history, comments, or screenshots linked after changing the file's location. You need to ensure that these strings are never deleted in WebLate. Removals can happen in case the WebLate repository is updated, but the component configuration still points to the old files. I don't think I did this. Where'd they even write this in here? Existing screenshots in the repository will be updated, and new screenshots matching the specified screenshot file mask will be added. I don't have these in the repo, though. But WebLate has its own database, and it looks like it's saving these correctly. Why don't I see something showing up? Like, why haven't other people hit the same exact problem? How'd you change that text highlighter color in your browser to pink? This is a Mac OS setting. Mac OS text highlight setting. It's... There's a location. Oh my God. Sometimes I'm convinced Bing is like the worst. Yeah, system settings, appearance, text highlight color. You just change that. Page saying how they're computing their checksum. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I should search for that. Weblate checksums. Changing on update. Checks and fix-ups, not that. Translation component alerts, frequently asked questions. Maybe it's in here somewhere. They do have a lot of questions here. What language is this? Why, like, note is showing up as nota, and here, like this. Kind of strange. How to export. Is there no table of contents for this page, though? Edit on GitHub? I can just copy paste it into my own thing now. Raw. Okay, so paste this here. And now just search for a couple pound signs. Wait, what? Oh, they've got a bunch of hyphens. Okay, so we can just search for a bunch of hyphens. So here's the table of contents. How to create an automated workflow, access repositories over SSH, fix merge conflicts, translate several branches. Options are pushing, limit access. Links contain that. Where all commits committed by Weblate. None of these are what I want yet. The update, okay, maybe this one. Update translation files besides translations. Tries to limit changes in translation files to a minimum. For some file formats, it might unfortunately lead to reformatting the file. Interesting. Hey, Phil. How's it going? Don't think it's a problem then. Disregard if not accurate. Just letting you know in case it was. Yeah, I don't think there should be a problem. If you put any service behind a Cloudflare tunnel, it should just be that all of the internet is accessing Cloudflare, and then Cloudflare is accessing your machine. And Cloudflare can add caching in front of it, which I don't know if I have that configured. Oh, I don't care in this case. But yeah, DevWell lurking, nice. Also doing some Christmas time work. So I'd like a link to this because it's helpful for something else that I have, but it's not helpful for this particular one. So does Weblate update this? And I have something in here about keeping spaces, -- no wrap. Yeah, here. Weblate mentions in their FAQ that if you want to keep the same formatting, what does it say? That you may need to use a pre-commit hook for formatting in some cases. Am I hosting it? I don't follow Allstream. Yeah, I'm self-hosting it. So I have a mini PC that's running, and it's got Weblate running on it. And then there's a Cloudflare tunnel exposing that service. So when you go to weblate.scalaseller.com, this is a Cloudflare IP that you'll get. It's a field message ID that contains a previous untranslated string. Yeah. That I'm aware of because then it gets marked fuzzy. Oh, wait, no. That's not how that works. It's the new string that it contains. Because message ID is literally just the English string. So whenever we modify this, it's going to get the fuzzy tag here. It actually looks kind of like that, I think. It's going to get a fuzzy tag, and it's going to have the new string. So there's no way to correlate it to the old one as far as I know. The Hawk host one does show, but not on ScalaSeller on your site in the bot site. The bot site. I don't know what you mean by the bot site. If you mean bot land, that would have been done through a domain registrar. But if you mean a.bot.land, that would have been done through Cloudflare. Yeah. So those are domains that I set up myself and not Cloudflare setting them up. Do you use message merge too? Yeah, we do. I wonder if that's causing a problem. Update backup equals none. I wonder if we need to do something differently. Did they mention message merge on here? You have to pass dash dash previous. Oh God. I'm passing in 2 of these files anyway, right? I'm not. Merging PO with the POT file. Oh, wait, no. We do have, okay, so I could use this. So let's look at message merge. Run your program, see if a reference to the original string still exists in the end. Yeah, I don't think it would have a reference to the previous one. I think I do need to use this. And this is a good thing to realize, but would have been really good to realize a while ago. Oh, man. Yeah, we should probably try that out, huh? All right, how do I do this? Let's go update literally any string in the code base. So let's go to button names or something, button strings. What I call it? I don't even know where it is. Buttons. Okay, yeah. So any of this. So let's change OK to OK2. Or like, that's great. So if I were to just run this, it's going to change the message ID and mark it fuzzy. So we can go in any of these. And yeah, there's the string. So it used to be OK. Well, how did that get there? What? What is that? I don't know what this is. Where'd that come from? Hey, Voight. Don't get baited into searching for your real IP on some site. Oh, yeah, I don't plan on doing that. And also, I don't think strange versus like being a malicious actor in this case. I think there's just maybe some confusion on this. And hey, Rami, what? Where did this come from? Is this somewhere else? Oh, there is a that's not funny. Huh, weird. Why did they pick that? I don't know. France from the looks of it. Yeah, apparently. Okay, so this is, I'm going to delete all this. And now what we're going to do is run this with dash dash previous. So we just do dash dash previous here. This is going to cause a lot of broken links. A lot of broken links. All right, now we run this again. And now what happens? It didn't do anything. What? Oh, maybe this is it? Maybe it's not running message merge? No, it is. Dash dash period. What am I missing? There's also dash U, which I'm guessing is short for update. Because we have this here. What's the backup thing? I wonder if it just saves a copy of the old. Oops. The old files that you had. Make a backup of def.po. Yeah. I'm actually not sure why they'd even put that there instead of just relying on using another shell command to copy it ahead of time. I guess it changes how you handle errors. Previous. Keep previous message IDs. What do I do? Well, let's continue looking through this. Maybe there's something else in there. Did I delete it? I think I did delete it. No, here it is. Can it highlight changes in a fuzzy string? Oh, hey, here's some of the stuff. I didn't realize there is a table of contents. Oh, nice. Supports this and needs data to show the difference. Okay, that's what I already was looking at, I guess. What's the other thing here? Why does it still show old translation strings when I updated the template? I don't think that's a thing. Requests sometimes fail. Full text search is too slow. Get lock error, rebuilding index, and all this stuff. Features. Oh, this is such a mess. Such a mess. Why is no one else asking about this stuff, though? Like, what if I search for Reddit? Weblate history lost on update? It can't just be me, right? Huh. I mean, we could try uploading this to Weblate and seeing how it would handle it. Because I guess technically the old string is here in this file somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, here. But it doesn't know that this is what changed. Wait, this is just collecting like a bunch of fuzzy strings here. Oh, man. I don't know. Yeah, history lost on fuzzy. I don't know what to do. This also uncredits translators. There's a lot of reasons why this is bad. I don't know if Hideo ever did modify this one, but we don't have history for it now, right? Hey, Barney, can I share a link with you for some deja vu? Yeah, sure. I don't know why I can't find anything online about this, though. That's the other thing that's weird. Let me ask ChatGPT. See if this is any better. So I'm using Weblate. When I update a string in my source code, Weblate seemingly can't correlate the new string to the old one. So I lose history, screenshots, explanations, etc. How do I keep all of that? The old Scud Frenzy with my face on it. I figured this would be something Windy related. How's it going, Barney? You're only planning to move on to the next translation once the first is completed, so you got all the issues out of the way, but did you have a Dutch translator yet? We're not going to translate for Dutch. Apparently most Dutch people play in English, so it's just not worth getting a translation for it, I think. Is that true for you too, Rami? Do you ever play a game in Dutch if it provides a Dutch translation, or do you play in English anyway? I don't know how many games even do. Never. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I assume that's how, apparently that's how most Dutch people are who play games. You would know better than I do, but I don't think it's worth prioritizing. The other thing I'm not sure about is how many Dutch gamers are there? I don't know how you even search for this. I guess we'd start with like population of the Netherlands and then assume something about this. So it's like 18 million people. So yeah, how many people play games? What other like primarily Dutch speaking countries are there? Primarily Dutch speaking countries. I assume it's just the Netherlands and Belgium apparently. Belgium population 12 million, but Belgium has multiple official languages, right? Language. Dutch, French, German. Yeah. So of the people who live in Belgium, how many people even want to play a game in Dutch? Yeah, I just assume it's not worth doing. Dutch land is a huge country. 100,000 Dutch people play games. Yeah, so then okay, let's say you want to target those 100,000 players. By the way, this is how all the funnels work, right? You start with like, okay, how many Dutch people are there, and then how many people play games, and how many people play this game, and then how many people play this game in Dutch. Those are the people you'd be losing out on, or only in Dutch, I guess. So it's like if we talk about Dutch gamers and it's 100,000, how many of them would want to play this game? I don't know, maybe like 5,000 at most. And then yeah, of those, how many would be remiss if it were only in English? Like, I don't know, 10. I'm just making up a number. You missed genre. No, when I say this specific game, that includes genre. Like, you might have 100,000 Dutch gamers, but how many would play Skeleseller? TV's always translated, never dubbed. Yeah. Why it doesn't work? Maybe running on one small file individually could help instead of your entire process for all languages. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's in here. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even look at this file. I ran it with previous, right? Yeah. All right, well, we can copy this. So we're taking the old PO files. And we don't have a PO file for English, right? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, we don't. We have scripts.pot. It didn't even keep the previous in this case. That's what I don't understand. I mean, I can revert the whole thing. Maybe it's a problem with this, because don't we first write message init? Oh, that's if it doesn't exist. We do have it. So we just run message merge. But that's after running this. So we run xget text and generate a POT file. Maybe we're generating this wrong. Maybe we need to generate a POT file and like merge it with the old one. Source doesn't have the old one. It's already updating the source when running message merge, right? The source doesn't have the old one. Yeah. Let me look this up. Xget text update string but keep old message ID. I know it's not xget text that even does this, but I still want to search like this. It's message merge that does this. Automatically update message IDs, translating software. I mean, actually, this might have been helpful. When you run xget text to extract new strings in the message merge, the old message ID entries are not deleted by default. They're commented out with this. That actually is there. I saw this in the file. If you want to update strings but keep the old one, you don't need to do anything special. That's already a default behavior. Yeah, I see it there. It's just Weblate doesn't seem to know what's what. I'm missing something. I'm definitely missing something. So if I run this again, just what we had originally, I think it was in the French file that we saw this. I'm waiting for it to pop up here. There it is. Yeah, so here's the old one, but the old one doesn't know what file it was in, so it doesn't know that this is the new one. In the end, the message ID changes, so I guess Weblate is correct. Yeah, but there's got to be some way to not do that, right? Maybe there isn't. So our current process, we have a message ID in English, like okay. We want to change it to great. So we run xgetText to find the new string, then message merge the translated files with the new .pot file. This just gives us a new message ID of great. Well, we don't want to change this to great. I guess we want to change the, well, maybe that's the problem, is that we're using the English source as the message ID. So weblate can't tell that a string changed. So it's considered a new string. Yeah, because I guess in weblate, most of the time what you're doing is just improving the translation of existing strings. But then what's the workflow for changing a source string? Change source string without affecting history. How to modify or add source language string. This is not exactly what they're talking about here. They want to be able to change like the English on weblate. Doesn't handle adding or removing strings from the project. Usually something done by the developers. Now allow adding new source strings in the component configuration. Yeah, what that issue was talking about is if you go to an English string, I can't change this text here. It says it's read only. I don't care about that. That's fine. That can stay that way forever. But I do need to figure this out though. How to move files without losing history in weblate. That's maybe what I want. Solution is to perform the operations in sync with weblate. I can't read any of this. To keep the history, comments, or screenshots linked to strings after changing the file's location, you need to ensure that these strings are never deleted in weblate. These removals can happen in case the weblate repository is updated. The component configuration still points to the old files. This makes weblate assume that it should delete all the translations. Solution is to perform the operation in sync. Lock the affected component, commit any pending changes, disable receiving webhooks, do any needed changes in the repo, then change the component configuration to match the new set. Okay, I understand. This is specifically for moving files because it makes sense. Weblate would just delete it and then put it in the new location and not keep any of the history. But I'm not moving files. I'm just changing a source string. Do I have a troubleshooting section? Yeah. Updating a source string can cause weblate to lose history, screenshots, and explanations. If the update is due to moving files in your Git repo, then they have a specific process for this. I want the current one. We're on like some weird old version. Can we just, oh wait, no, we're not on an old version. But still, can we go to like the latest here? Can I just say latest? Yes, apparently. History. No. All right, let's see if we can find a better permalink for this. Because this has the version number in it, right? Yeah, so how about I just search for this on Google? Frequently asked questions. It just shows in the, yeah, whatever. All right. So there's no way to get to the latest version of this? Okay, then yeah, sure. Let's just copy a link to that. If the update is just due to changing a source string in English, e.g. okay to okay, then I don't have a solution yet. I still need to figure it out. Because this is going to break all the what I thought were permalinks. What does it say on it? It doesn't say anything. Oh, yeah, permalink. Permalink changes if altering source string. Best way to edit source strings. Find myself unable to edit because they're flagged as read only. This isn't. Maybe there's a way to change the string in English. I don't think that makes sense. Wait, no, it might make sense. Yeah, we have. Okay, let's try something here. So let's delete all this. Let's go to scripts.pot. And in this okay, let's change the string to be this is not okay. I wonder if that's how I'm supposed to do this. Then this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Then I go find the French scripts file and copy paste this. And it should have updated. Didn't do anything. Maybe because the ID didn't change. So this is pointless. Like if I did change this to OK2, maybe then it would cause something to happen. Yeah, it did. Oh, look at that. Message ID OK. How did that happen? I think this might have to do with how I'm generating the POT file then, huh? What did I do? I had a message string here, but what if I just didn't? And I revert the French file now and I run this again. Okay, we're getting somewhere. I don't understand how we got here. Because what did I do differently here? I changed the message ID and then somehow this just magically worked this time. It must be because. So let me write this down before we forget. So I'll just write construction here. So if I manually change scripts.pot message ID in scripts.pot and then run this exact command, everything works how I would expect. How do I get that to happen with our automated workflow? This is what Hideo was suggesting earlier. I don't know what's different about this. That's the issue. So if I run our generate thing now, how does it change scripts.pot? It changed it in the same way that I did. I guess the difference is that it doesn't start with okay. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe if I change that's great to be just okay too, it'll do exactly what I think it should do. Hey, Rohini. There's just words on a screen to me. Yeah, this is actually just words on a screen in the end anyway, because it's all translation file stuff. But the difficulty here is getting this to retain the history. It might be because it's very close to the original. So now maybe if I look at this file, it knows that it's so in this case, it does know. So that's the reason why this worked. So then how do you change it to a totally different string? Hey, DJ. So changing it from okay to OK2 is fine. Changing it to that's great is not fine. This is the worst. So if I generate this now, it's not going to know how to correlate these things. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is apparently only because I changed okay to OK2. Changing it to great causes it to forget the old message ID. Let's go back to this for a second and change it back to OK2 because I want to show what it looks like when it's working correctly. And then I want to see if message previous or whatever does something. So here's when it's working correctly, what it looks like. And then what did I say? I want to try removing the previous and see what happens. I18N program. We get rid of previous here. So just comment that out. And then run this. Revealed and hidden, yeah. And then take a look at this. Yeah, so now it doesn't do it. So dash dash previous is needed. With dash dash previous on message merge. Without dash dash previous. Bit more annoying to work with. Yeah, well, that would be a pretty big change at this point. And I still wonder if there's some way to get this to work. Why is the ID normal text? That's just, yeah, how we did things. Message ID. What if I search for this? Supported file formats. Do they ever comment on this? And I wonder, is this what other people do too? Like there's a way to go to hosted weblate. Yeah. Let's go find this. Hosted.weblate.org. So you can go look through any public projects you want to, and we could just download one of these and see what they do. So like this one, for example, files download. There. All right. So now we have all of their translations, and I want to look through their .pot files. Whoops, not POG, POT. They don't have them. They might not have them. They use a different file format. TBX. These are the stuff. JSON files. Do they have their English one in here? They do. What does this have in it? This isn't really the same as what I need. All right, well, let's just go to a different one of these then. How about, I looked through one of these earlier and I found some other, what is this? Event yay. There, right there. Let's go find those files. Files, download. Okay, downloading all of them. Done. So this one probably has POT files. Just one. And yeah, they just use message IDs with no strings, just like I do. Weirdly, they have... No, this is just for Japanese? The whole... Why can you have a POT file that's not in English? I thought the template had to be in your source language. Like half of these are not filled out. Most of them are not filled out. What am I missing here? Also, I don't even know if whatever string I was looking at was Japanese. Not that it matters. Gotta figure out the ID thing then, huh? Localization file formats. Do they talk about anything in here? Keep previous message IDs of translated strings. PO keep previous. Where's that? Keep previous. I think that's the dash dash previous of message merge. And they don't mention a default here or anything. Help text. for each component. Internal properties, PO line wrap. Okay, so I can get to that through component operation settings, files, file format parameters, components, operations, settings. I'll do this off screen just in case there's a problem. Components, script, files. Ah, yeah, there's a thing here, but it looks broken. Yeah, there's nothing private on the screen. Look at this. Long lines wrapping. You can click this and there's a drop down, but then keep previous message IDs. You can't click this. What's on this page? Oh, it's a checkbox? That's not a checkbox. It's very bizarre. I don't see any difference if I double click it versus single click it. And they have checkboxes here. Why does checkbox ever? WebLate should show the old context change for fuzzy strings. Duplicate of 1477. When a string becomes fuzzy because of a simple context change, the translator can see there is no source change, but the reason needs review is now ticked is not apparent to them. That's it. So there's one thing that's baffling to me after all of this is like, why can't I find something matching my situation? What I did can't be unique. Like I used .po and .pot files. I used the English source as the ID, and then I change that English source sometimes and want to retain history. So I would totally understand if WebLate or something like Message Merge was like, we don't handle that and do things differently. But someone on the internet would have complained about it, right? So that they get that answer. And this is similar, but it's not the same. The thing that Hideo linked in. The thing Hideo linked is about if the context changes on the string. So here's message context, but the message ID is the same. I'm changing the message ID. But we did find out that if I pass in previous, it'll try to remember this for strings that are largely the same. And I wonder how largely the same they can be before it finds it as a different string. Like if I type a whole bunch of text after this, but it still starts with the same word. Does that work? Does it know that this is the same? No. Oh, I deleted the previous. Okay, hold on. Let's put that back in. So it's got to like match a certain substring, maybe? No, it does not know this is the same. Although maybe because it's so long now that it starts like that. But if I change it to okay and have a whole bunch after it, what about that one? Doesn't store enough info that allow it to reconcile them. Yeah. But still, why has no one else said, like, yeah, I guess that's, yeah. This is what we're saying here. This is still different, but if I change it to just OK2, so by the way, the thing I'm looking at, just so people know what I'm talking about here, is when we look at this, it's just 2 lines changed. There's no old information. But if I run this again, I think we're going to have old information because I didn't change it enough. Now it knows that it was fuzzy. Maybe I just revert everything and try again. Should be a clean starting state every time. Maybe it isn't. It isn't a clean starting state every time. All right, I might have not done this test correctly then. So let's put it back to a whole bunch of text. What does this turn into now? Oh yeah, now it gets deleted. What is the difference? If I revert it and try it? I think I'm realizing this is not idempotent. But I'm not totally sure. No, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's just how this text can only change by so much. That's what it seems to be. So I replace this with a 2. And we see that it's pretty much the same. In fact, maybe this is even like fuzzier logic than I think. And then it's like, oh, if a number shows up afterward, it's still considered the same. Because it's in the same location in the code. Oh, maybe that's the part that's causing this to be different. Maybe when I type enough here, like if I click this, if I type a whole bunch, this doesn't push it onto a new line. No, it doesn't. All right, I don't know. I don't know. What if I just had the letter A? That's the same number of characters, but it's a letter and not a number. Does that do something different here? Oh, that works. So yeah, there's got to be a small enough change apparently. You can create another entry with a new ID, and after updating the reference, delete the old one. Yeah, but the history won't be maintained. So one of the things we have here is if I go look at, see if I can find this. Recent changes. Okay, so here's a string that Hideo modified, and we see in the history Hideo modified this and how he modified it. If I make a new string, we're going to lose all this. And I think this is important. What is going on with this? Is it translate the French that Hideo wrote? I don't understand that. What do we do? What do we do about this? Also, how far can I push this before it's considered different? Maybe it's like based on percentage. But afraid you can't do anything at this point. Let me see. Okay, that works. Yeah, so I wonder if this is just a percentage of the string. Like if I put a 4th A in, does it fail? Because now I would have changed the majority of the string. No, that's not it. I don't understand this. All right, I'm going to put one more in. Still works. All right, well, we might as well push this really far. Let's see. Why, when I wrote out the words a whole bunch, did it break? But when I have just a whole bunch of A's, it still knows somehow that this is the OK string. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, weird. Is it delimited on a space character? But there's a space character when I typed a bunch of A's in there. I don't know why I can't correlate this back. It's the same line of code. It starts with the same string. But if I replace every single one of those A's, or every single character there, with just a bunch of A's, and we can make sure it matches exactly. There. And then I run this again. Now it will retain the context. So what caused that? And it's only if I change, like, if I change this to something else, another word, if I change it to like lowercase OK, now it thinks it's a totally different string. Yeah. So here's practically like, what are the odds I'm ever going to change a string to something that kind of matches the first bit and adds in like an exclamation mark or something? That'll happen probably occasionally, but more often than not, probably it's going to be like a wording change completely, and it just won't be able to correlate it. Can you somehow have the English version not be a POT but a PO and edit, change, update text in it? I don't know. I'm not even sure that would help given how the previous message merge works. Oh, I guess it would help because a message ID wouldn't change, but then we'll have some like random message ID. All right. Ember, thanks for the resub. Happy 2.5 years. If the update is due to moving files, then they have a specific process for this. If the update is, oh, here it is. Then you may be out of luck. Yeah. So for example, this is the scenario that I was in. Our source strings are in English and have the English text as the message ID in a .pot file. And then we would change those source strings in the code such that xgetText would update the POT file. For example, perhaps OK changes to done. At this point, we would lose all history in Weblate. So message merge has a -- previous option, which will sometimes keep contextual information in a file. For example, if I change OK to OK2 and run message merge with -- previous, the resulting like French.po file looks like this. It looks like this. And with -- previous, but changing the word entirely, it looks like this. So there's something about just changing it slightly, and it's hard to figure out what slightly means here, since OKAA retains the information, but OK new word doesn't, or new words. And I'm going to plug that in just to make sure that that's actually happening there. OK new words. You can play. First sentence kind of confirms my last question. Let me take a look at it in a sec. Yeah. Keys have one single advantage. Somebody can correct the messages in the base language. With getText, you either have to change the source code or you have to define your base language as broken English. Provide a translation catalog for proper English. Keys. What is a key considered to be? Oh, I see. This is nuts. Yes, Flair, you are still a valuable human being. Don't worry, and don't tie your worth to some project. It will be a blip in your overall existence. Well, most likely. even if it's successful beyond your wildest dreams. Well, maybe then it might not be a blip anymore. But yeah, for most things, like it's just another piece of your life, ups and downs. All right, so the only real solution seems to be using resilient IDs for your source strings as opposed for your, I guess, message IDs rather than English strings. For example, if your source, I don't even know how we'd use this in Godot though. Because right now what we have is we have a translate call and we're saying, okay, new words or something, or okay, it doesn't matter what we have here. In the future, we'd have to change this to be like string ID dot okay button. And then I guess it'd still be left up to the PO file. And then we define English as a language somewhere. Somehow. Yeah. Instead of manifesting translate okay from your code, you would do something like translate string IDs dot button okay. Then you would never touch that ID. Feels like my brain just won't turn on and my muscles are noodles. I think it just means you need more rest. And I know it's hard when you have plans to be like, all right, well, I'm sick. I should give myself some slack. But it truly is the best thing for you, I think. I think about this a lot when it comes to sleep. Like, if I feel sleepy, I should probably sleep. That's a conclusion that most people probably come to at some point in their lives, but then they struggle with the whole like, well, it's late, I'm whatever, having fun playing a game, I'll stay up. And you recognize that it's probably going to hurt you a little bit the next day, but you're making a trade-off there. I think it's the same thing with when you're sick. It's like, if you're sick, I think feeling guilty about not getting stuff done is just detrimental. Hey, Ancient Row. Okay, so what's the practical outcome of this? I want to just kind of spew some thoughts here somewhere. So if we lose history, explanations, and screenshots, we could potentially be more wary of how we update strings and link to strings. We could link with a search instead of with a checksum. You can link it if you want, Flare. Source strings are in English and have the English text as a message ID in any .plt file. I'll just say this, have the English text as the message ID. We would change those source strings in the code. I'll take the .pot file. Would change to done. At this point, we'd lose all history in WebLaid. Yeah. It's slightly hard to figure out what slightly means here. retains the information, but OK New Words doesn't. The real solution seems to be using resilient IDs. For example, instead of manifesting translate OK, you do something like translate string IDs button OK. Then you would never change that ID. So it's screenshots, explanations, and permalinks. No, permalinks are based on checksums. So if the source string changes enough, the checksum will also change. This is especially insidious because you won't have any idea what the checksum used to point to without like reverting your repo or something. Like I have these links and I have no clue what they are. E.g. this. Yeah, I'll just put example.com /weblate/translate/project/component. Yeah. Guess you lose all your previous explanations, also the comments. Yeah. Should write that down here too. Comments. That's history. So problem summary. I don't think I need that here. Hey GJ, been working on my own language. Brain stopped working, took some rest, stopped working on it for a week, now I'm back in top gear. Sometimes we need to stop working on current items, give the brain some rest, come back. Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially when you're sick. I think when you're sick, it's pretty obvious you're not operating at 100%. But sometimes it's just kind of a little bit of a burnout. Like you need a vacation. Felt like indie devs advertising other indie devs. A lot of time spent watching all those trailers, and it felt like the value gained would have been minimal. What do you guys think? The Jitspo stream? I think, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of torn. I still think it's great Jitspo did this. And I looked at the video on YouTube. It's got 7.3 thousand views. I bet the watch time is pretty low for this. So it did kind of feel like two things almost. One, a little bit of a popularity contest. Like a bunch of indie devs are watching, and when one of their games would come up, they'd be like, "Oh, nice, their game's here." And two is, what was I gonna say? I guess yeah, the target audience. It's like the view count is probably low on this. Like how many? And there were a lot of comments on this video. Let me mute this. There's 73 comments. Actually, that's not as many as I thought. But yeah, you'll see a lot of people like, I'm the developer. Thanks for featuring my game. I'm the developer. Here's my thing. So a lot of these comments are just the developer saying, yeah, here's the thing I did. I mean, almost, whoops. Oh, what's going on? Hold on. I'm busy breaking everything. I hope I didn't accidentally thumbs up that comment. Yeah. So the other thing is just from an audience perspective, like, is an hour and 30 minutes of 15-second trailers interesting for any topic or quality level? Like, imagine it were physical products that you want to buy. Oh, here are all the products coming out in the next decade. Like, yeah, maybe some would be interesting, but I imagine most people would watch like a random 5-minute snippet or something and be like, okay, now I know about some of these. I don't think they're gonna watch it in an hour and a half. And I think then you end up with these like magnetic effects where people will watch a lot of the start or a lot of the end, or just wherever there are spikes in YouTube viewership to see where that particular thing was. So I noticed no result from having my game there, and it actually took me a lot of time to be in there because I had to make a 15-second trailer, and I like reworked it a bunch. And I imagine it's probably similar for other people. But I think it's a cool thing to have tried. I think they're also much more likely to buy a random indie game. I watched the whole thing and found some stuff I wishlisted. Yeah, yeah, I think that's good. I think the much more likely to buy a random indie game doesn't really match with what I tend to think. A lot of people post in /r/game dev, and every once in a while, well, actually, a lot of the posts are like veiled marketing posts. And a lot of the people in there say, like, you're marketing other indie devs, like, we're not your audience. But that's not to say that indie devs aren't also game players. It's just that they're probably not there to try to find games. Yeah, full box. Got 25 wishlists out of it. I think it's fine. Yeah. So, I mean, that probably just points to my trailer being bad, or the timing being bad, or me not drumming up enough interest in chat. Yeah, so overall, I think my personal value felt like it was pretty low, and the cost was pretty high for that low value. And when it came to watching the trailers, I also wasn't super interested, to be honest. I tried to watch a few and leave some comments because I didn't want to just be a consumer, a selfish consumer of this. But I didn't wishlist any games, and I probably won't play any of the games from there. I'm definitely not the target audience for that stuff, though. I feel like I'm not the target audience for games. So let alone indie games. Yeah, so if we lose history, we could potentially be more wary about how we update these things. Yeah, it's really just going to lead to like broken links and lost context. Not the end of the world. It'll result in broken links, which can be fixed, and lost context, which hopefully won't matter too much. Yeah. We can also get around some of this. Yeah, just the being wary about this. But the other option is we could change all message IDs into keys as opposed to strings. I think Godot would support this. Well, I don't see why not if they're unique and it's just reading from a .po file. Yeah, I don't think this is probably worth the effort, especially since this is just for like change protection and most strings aren't going to change at this point. If you have multiple, that'd be super annoying. Yeah, or just there's a string that got changed many times by even one translator. Like, oh, why did I change that? Oh, yeah, I see. Or, yeah. I'm just thinking, like, what should I do for a future game? I think opt for keys. But then there's a comment that Hideo linked that basically said, like, keys are a pain except for one benefit. Translation file tends to contain stale messages. This I don't understand. There are no standard tools to keep the translation files in sync with the sources and with each other. Oh, I guess another difficulty is you wouldn't know what anything actually said in your game. Right? Like any translate call that we have. Like this, for example, smashes a single enemy. What you would see instead is crush description or something like that. And you wouldn't see any of this stuff. Or maybe you'd, well, maybe you'd still see the context. But yeah, so you'd read this and you'd be like, oh, okay, I got to go find that string. And it would be pretty tedious. Hard to produce grammatically correct messages for plural forms. This I don't understand either because it seems like it's just a level of indirection. Extra translation costs, translations become unmaintainable or expensive. Errors are hard to detect in key value files. I think they're talking about something slightly different here. Like I see some cons, but I don't see all of these cons. How does he easily mix a multitude of programming languages? Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about with some of this stuff. But I wonder if we should write this in Godot somewhere. Yeah, I want to test this out. I want to see what it'd be like to use a key for this. Godot translate like localization, I guess. They talk about this in here? They don't. They talk about it somewhere though. Yeah, I wouldn't consider it for this either, but as long as I'm writing notes on this stuff, I want to write about it for the future. So I think this is the route we're going to take. So I think the to-do that we need now, to do, figure out what to do for future games, and write about the possibility of losing context, and then make sure my note in Obsidian is accurate. So I want to figure this out for right now. So like, how does Godot handle using string IDs or like IDs? I don't think it's Godot that handles it though. I think it's the PO files that handle it. So what does that mean though? We need a .pot file that just has IDs and no string? No, it would have an ID, but it'd have a, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, we need get text to extract. Let me just type this over here because it's probably easier. Do you even use PO files if you're using stable IDs? I don't see why not. Are you just saying like a different file format would be good? Because you're basically just treating, if you have stable IDs, you treat English as just another language that gets translated. At least that's my impression. So suppose I want to use .po and .pot files and have a static ID for each message ID, and then a standalone English translation file for all of those IDs. When I set that up, I'm not even sure this question makes sense. English lives in its own PO file. Yeah, this is what I assumed. Yeah. So I think this is what I write down. Language keyword equals T. Oh yeah, for translations. From code, no location. That I don't know what that is. Output, sure, yeah. Use text as IDs and always imagine you would not use it with manual ones. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's true. All right. So I should write this down on my Godot localization thing. Oh man, such a mess. Such a mess. There's, yeah, here, automatically fetch a translation if their text matches a translation key. Main screen greeting 1. So I think I want to say like using like string identifiers versus what do they call the difference? Text, yeah, I guess so. Versus text. Keys / identifiers versus text as your message IDs. All right, so for Skeleseller, we ended up manifesting message ID in .pot files as English strings, like directly as English strings. So I'll write some comments on this. God, there's so much to do. So yeah, here's an example of this. So as a result, our code looks like the corresponding. I want to write this. So here's scripts.pot, or like I could say abilities or something .pot. And here's the C# source code for what, Fireball? Yeah. I don't even need this. I could just say like fireball.cs. Yeah, I think this is probably fine. I could just say, I could just delete that. I want to make it clear enough what's going on here without putting too much extra stuff. Here's the .pot file that gets generated from that. So this would be line 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just changed this to a 4. What's nice about this is that you can see directly in the source code what your string will show up for to an English user. What's not nice about this is how Weblate handles changes to the message ID. In short, it deletes all of your history and context. See Weblate this. It's called monolingual get text as opposed to bilingual. Yeah. I should write that in my Weblate note. Then treating English as just another translation. Weblate calls this monolingual. Monolingual what? Get text. Deletes all of your history and context. It's a new Diet Coke for developers. I don't know. I think soda consumption is dropping. Although I don't necessarily think that means people are getting healthier. In the last 15 years, soft drink consumption has declined by 60% for teenagers. I'm just reading the AI summary of this. So who knows? But the reason I say I don't think people are necessarily getting healthier is because I think there are a lot of like juice adjacent products that are just like pure sugar but aren't carbonated, so they're not really soda. I know LaCroix is just water, right? Well, wait, no, not technically. I guess it's carbonated water with some like scent in it. So there's no calories and no sugar, I guess. So at least from that point of view, it's It's like way better than having Coca-Cola or something. Carbonated water, basically, yeah. Because I keep looking this up and I keep forgetting exactly how much. I'm going to guess 34 grams. How many grams of sugar in Coke? 39. Yeah, this is nuts. Just nuts. So yeah, if you can not consume an extra whatever that is, however many like kilograms per year of sugar, then great. I guess Diet Coke's not the same in that they use some like aspartame or some other sweetener that's not quite sugar. I haven't finished writing these notes. What's nice about this is you can see directly in the source code what your string will show up as to an English user. See what your string will look, I guess like how your string will look to an English user. What's not nice about this is how Weebly handles the changes. In short, it deletes all of your history and context. It's probably smarter to use keys or identifiers from the beginning of your project. What's on the bottle of Coke in my hand? I'm not saying you should never have Coke again. I'm just saying I don't think it should be like your go-to drink if you want to stay healthy. I mentioned this, but a long time ago, when I was still drinking soda, it was a combination of taste, convenience, and caffeine. And I've given up all of this. I have no taste, no convenience in my life, no caffeine in my life. No, I've given up soda and I've given up caffeine. But a lot of the reason why I was having it would have been like, oh, I'm tired and there's about to be a meeting. Okay, I'll have a soda. Well, every time I did that, it was like, well, I'm also having 40 grams of sugar. So I'm glad I gave that up. I now largely drink water. I also have like protein shakes and stuff. It's my one vice left. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no need to cut it out completely. If you were like, it's my one vice left, I have 12 cans of Coke every day, I'd be like, okay, that's a problem. You probably shouldn't have like 300 grams of sugar from your drinks every day. But yeah, moderation is everything. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to write. Is I want to make sure I've saved this somewhere else. Like we can make sure to write a note about major learnings for my next game. Localize as soon as you realize you're going to make the full game, and localize using string identifiers rather than English text. Raw coffee, no sugar, that's the way. I mean, that is the way if you're gonna get caffeine, I feel. I'd see other 11 cans. Yeah, now you're good. See what I mean? Well, it's more of a pain because your code will look like this. Yeah, instead of translate fireball, you would have something like translate string IDs dot fireball display name. You don't even necessarily have to use X get text at that point, although it may still be helpful for pulling all the strings. Yeah, it may still be helpful. Wait, you wouldn't define these in code at all. So this wouldn't even work, right? Strings would all be defined in their own standalone .po files or some other format. I haven't pursued this yet for a game, so I haven't listed out the full instructions here. Yeah, I think that's good. I kind of want to do a video on all the stuff that I've learned. I should write that down. Do a video. So these are all just note-taking things. Because I think it really boils down to a couple of things. It's like localize your game early, or at least like set up for localizing your game early, and probably use IDs instead of text. Those are the two main takeaways. And I say early, I think the main point is localize once you're out of prototyping. So like if you're going to just test game mechanics, cut every corner. Don't do any of your code totally properly. Don't localize. I don't know. Just skip everything. Don't write tests. But yeah, once you know you're going to make your game, then start applying like proper software engineering. And then the IDs instead of text thing, I don't think this is going to bite us so much. Hideo did these translations for French in such a way that I changed a lot of English source strings. But now if someone comes in and does Spanish or does German or something like that, ideally they don't find any real problems that cause me to need to change the English. It's totally okay if they're like, hey, I'm struggling to come up with the right words in Spanish or something, but they can keep modifying the Spanish like 14, 15 times and it'll just show up in the history. But as soon as I change the English, it's going to erase all their history. And I wonder if there's some way to like manually set a checksum. Because actually, if you could do that, not manually set a checksum, I guess. Well, maybe you still could. You have to probably like really manipulate whatever they use to calculate their checksum. But maybe it's just a thing in a database. You can just go in and modify it. I kind of doubt it. Well, maybe that's worth looking into. All right, where did I leave off? So figure out what to do for future games. Yeah, I'll just delete that now. So write about the possibility of losing context. Definitely find things I may have missed, especially with AI strings making you be less careful. Also different in their languages, but I expect it to be less than what I found. Yeah, and wait. No, drat. If we can't correlate... If we can't correlate strings and I change the English and we already have a French translation, I probably need to make sure we keep the French translation. We're just going to lose all that data. This is like a major problem. Is the French translation in English? For that page we were looking at, I don't know what's causing this to show up in English because it's not. It's, oh, wait. Yeah. It's like auto translate. I think the browser is doing it. I think that's why. Although I'm not sure. Is it because of this thing here? Translate this page. Can I like not ever have it translate this page? Never translate this site. Yeah, that's what's going on. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that was even happening. I should write that down in Weblate notes. Other setup notes, yeah, in here. Make sure your browser doesn't automatically translate Weblate for you. It'll be very confusing. Yeah, so I'll just take a picture of this. How can both of these things be checked? Always translate French and never translate this site. That's like the unstoppable force hitting the immovable object, right? You can't always translate French if you have to never translate the site. All right, well, I don't know. Well, let's take a picture of that. This shows in the address bar of Chrome. Oop. Oh, I'll maybe put this over here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I get what it's trying to communicate. It's just that is kind of confusing, right? That you can have both of those concurrently. It feels like it should, I don't know. we never found out is that when running that, the translation is this is not funny. Yeah, I think it was just pulling something maybe nearby. What did I change it to? I changed it to like, okay, this is great or something. I don't remember. I mean, I guess we could just try it again. So revert this. Dialogue strings. Didn't I do something like that? Except for now I have it set to merge previous. I wonder if we should even have that there. We probably should. Yeah, I don't remember what we did to get that. Also, this is now a gigantic picture since this is like 500 or something. What next? What do I do next? Write about the possibility of losing context. Yeah, the possibility of kind of messing up any of this stuff. Where do I even write about it though? Where am I gonna notice this? I think I would check the translation document maybe. I could make a tab that says like just for Adam. Can you hide tabs from people? No. Wait, sub tabs? No, that was a thing. Oh, interesting. Delete. Where do I write this so that I actually remember this? Yeah, I think I will make another tab here. And I'll just say just for developers. Overview. There's no need for you to read this page. It's just for developers. Updating source strings. So if a message ID ever changes, we end up with a ton of problems. Weblate will typically not recognize that the string was updated. I don't even think there's a way to find all links to a string. So what would you even do? Like if I search for Barry had a link. Where is it? Here, yeah. So the name and gender must match this description. So we link to this. Is there a way to figure out that we've linked to this? I doubt it. Translation file, flags, context, glossary. I don't see anything on the page for that. Nearby strings, other languages, comments, history, browse all string changes. Yeah, I don't see anything for this. So we wouldn't even know. Oh, wait. Oh, maybe what we could do is we could just search for the checksum here, right? Okay, that might actually work. I don't know for sure how you do this, but maybe there's a way to do it. So if I just search, I'm guessing it's not going to find anything. But if I search for maybe like the context, how do you search? Oh, maybe like that. Does that work? No. Context strings. I want it's one of these sorts of things. Maybe explanation. Aha. That brings something up. So I can click this. Sure enough. Okay, that worked. Okay, so then yeah, that's how we could find this. This is why I'm writing a note about this. If message ID changes, Weblate will typically not recognize the strings updated. This means we'll lose history, comments, explanations, screenshots, etc. In general, follow this flow. So find the like before making the change, find the string on Weblate and then search for any other strings that reference it with explanation, paste checksum here. And then make the change and then update the update any links, add screenshots and explanations again, etc. Save the history slash, or not history, save the screenshots slash explanations manually. Yeah. 2 months later, you release a new feature, edit some string, losing that comment. Alice is not available. Bob translates a new sentence, has to translate that old updated string. Bob doesn't have the old comment, can pick a totally different translation. Yeah. Yeah. I recognize that that is a potential problem that we have. Comments, explanations, yeah, just any of that stuff. It'd be kind of nice if we could still link to the old string. Like it just kept it around and we could at least say like, all right, just go look at the comments for that. It'd still be bad. It wouldn't be maybe as bad. There's one other thing that needs to change here though. Oh yeah, which is, did you translate this in any other languages? If it was already translated to other languages, we may want to keep those translations too. I wonder, this is one of the things I want to look into. Also, I like really need to take a break. I've just been sitting at my computer for like 4 hours. I wonder if you can still access Weblade's database for this stuff. Webblade database, old checksum. Is that a thing you can do? Probably not. What a mess. What an absolute mess. God, I hate this. Okay, fine. Well, make sure my node obsidian is accurate. So I think that's all this stuff. So we are going to keep dash previous and see what that does. And sometimes it'll help. Maybe it even works in more cases than what I had. Maybe I was testing on something too easy. Like we go to crush and we have this smashes a single enemy for whatever. Like what if I change this to smashes a single enemy for this damage, has a chance to miss. Like crushes a single an enemy. So we like slightly change the string here. What happens now? Use the backup, then message merge the backup with a new one. I don't think that workflow makes sense. Because the backup is just a copy of the original, and we're already using message merge with previous. But I might be wrong about that. Oh, here it did keep this. So I think if we just have dash previous, I think it's pretty good. And it just can't tell in certain cases. Like in this case, we did change the beginning of the string, and it kept the old one. So somehow it knows this, but if I change okay to great, it has no clue what's going on anymore. So I don't understand that. I don't know how dash previous is working. Like, what is this doing? Invocation. Keep the previous message IDs marked with this. How does it find? Okay, well, if dash previous works pretty well, then we actually don't have much of a problem here. So in general, adding dash previous to your message merge arguments is a good starting point. The only, like, I guess, surefire solution. Yeah, this is much better than I thought. When we tested this earlier, I changed okay to okay2, and it worked. I changed okay to great, and it didn't work. I changed okay to okay, and then the word's a whole bunch because I was testing something else, and that didn't work. But then I typed a whole bunch of A's that matched the exact amount of text, and it did work. So I'm like, okay, this is inconsistent. Well, right now we just changed smashes a single enemy to crushes an enemy. This is enough of a word change here where I thought it'd be a totally different string, but it saved the context. So if I were to upload this to Webblade, which I'm not going to test because I don't want to bother with this anymore, but if I were to upload this to Webblade, I think it would know, oh, that's the old string. Yeah, so we're going to keep all the history for that. And if that's the case, that's really not too bad. So sure, every once in a while, like, okay is going to lose its history. But honestly, that's never going to have context or explanation that really matters. In fact, the only place I did this was with the word done. So if we search for done exact, I think I did add I'm not even searching for this correctly because I'm searching an event, yay. All right, let's close every tab I have open and search for this. I think it's in scenes. Yeah, here we go. So here I think I put a screenshot, but even this, if I lost this screenshot, someone would just be like, what's this for? And I just put another screenshot there. So I don't think this is that bad. Yeah. Okay, that calmed me down a lot. I don't know why I hadn't tested this with an actual string before, but yeah, now we have. So dialogue strings, we're deleting this. Yeah, you can ask an off-topic question. I know you're using Sublime for VS Code. For a couple of years, I've been thinking about switching because I like all the VS Code plugins. What's been stopping me is that VS Code does not have a new view into file feature, and I use that all the time. Marked out of scope. They say VS Code architecture does not support this. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. I'm pretty sure I've had two views open in a single file. Crush. Whoops. And then I open it up over here too. Yeah, there's two views. Now if I modify something over here, it modifies it on both sides. You mean calcium mode? God, I would love it if Hideo named it that. Not side by side though. In different tabs. Isn't this in different tabs? I mean, you can just drag this out of VS Code if you want. And now I have, where'd that go? I lost it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so like here, now we have two different views. And I can still just type things over here. You did name it that? Oh man, that's great. Yeah, that's really great. It's in a different window. Well, okay, so what are you talking about? Because I don't understand. If you want a new view into a file, how it has to take different space, right? You don't want it in a tab. You don't want it in its own window. How should it show up? Because it can't be like overlaid exactly on top or else you wouldn't. A new view into a new tab. Wait, but that was the first thing I did, right? I had it in a new tab. Oh, I see what you're saying. You didn't want it in a split view. Oh. What scenario do you have where you specifically want it to be in a new tab? Because I was going to say, you could sort of accomplish this with a symbolic link to a different, well, yeah, symbolic link, and then just open up the symbolic link, maybe? Maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, what's your scenario? Because if those other ways don't accommodate your scenario, I'd be kind of surprised. Huh. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I guess I could see maybe you have a smaller monitor and you want to look at the top of the file and then the bottom of the file. Because I was going to say another way that you could sort of accomplish this with the bookmarks. I used to use an extension for this. It would let me set like, okay, here, imagine, I mean, these are breakpoints, but imagine that they're bookmarks. So I have one on line 7 and I have one on line 124. And actually, I guess you can treat breakpoints as bookmarks. You don't even need an extension. So now at the bottom right of my screen, I can go between those two locations very quickly. Now, again, this is breakpoints, but if you imagine that there were bookmarks instead, you'd be able to do the same basic thing. So that's another way of sort of accomplishing whatever your scenario might be, is just like quickly go to different points of the file. Workflow I use all the time in Sublime is I create a new viewer tab, go to a different place in the file, make an edit, close the new tab, then I'm in the same spot in the original. Yeah, I think a bookmark is really good for that. And I used to use bookmarks for that sort of thing. Okay. Yeah, I love it. I do. I think this is great. I hope there's a hearty laugh from a French person who plays the game. This is what it actually is, though. Calcium. It's the best. I need to get lunch. Yeah. I am probably just going to work on this stuff the rest of the day, I guess. That's just how French pronunciation works. I mean, that kind of is how French pronunciation works. There are a lot of silent letters in French. Give me a letter of the alphabet and I'll tell you whether it can be silent in French. Come on, go. All right, so worked on translation stuff. Got really sidetracked by Weblate forgetting not being able to match an old string with an updated version of it. So what do we still have? Make sure my note in Obsidian is accurate. Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is only the case if it didn't save this thing off. Where is that? Here. Yeah, so I want to put this over here. Before making the change, find the string on Weblate, make the change, and then see if dash previous or like message merge dash previous actually helped. Do we have this sort of thing in the .po file? All right, now how do I paste this so that it doesn't look stupid? I guess we just change this to console list. And then the important part is this. Can we highlight that? And then highlight this, I guess, to make it clear that what I'm talking about. Wonder if in the case it's not auto added, you could add it. Oh yeah, that's a good question. That is a really good question. If it's not there, could we just add it manually? If so, update my notes on all of this stuff. It's honestly not such a bad situation to be in for Skeleseller specifically. Yeah, how about this? I'll preemptively update my notes and say, maybe you could even manually add in the old message ID yourself and get Weblate to make the connection. I haven't tried this yet. Yeah, it's a really, really, really good suggestion. Because the way I looked at this originally was this is like a nuclear level problem for Skeleseller. Not really. Actually, I'd just say it's like a big problem. And then I realized dash previous is better than I thought. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's downgrade this to it's a medium problem. If what Skeleseller said, if what Hideo said, if what the calcium maker said, yeah, so if Hideo is right with that hunch, then I would downgrade this even to just a small problem, like a nuisance. It's not that bad. And I'm the one who absorbs the cost. I don't mind when I'm the one who absorbs it. If a translator absorbs it, I think it's a problem. It will use either or both. I think it'll just know to correlate them with one another. So like the issue we had here is I had a bunch of links that now don't go anywhere. It says no strings found because the link is to a checksum and no string has that checksum anymore. And what's unfortunate about this is at the top of any page, if you go to, yeah, it has this button and it says under it, copy permalink. Well, it's not such a permalink if it goes away, is it? But it's my fault that it went away. So now I got to make it not go away. Yeah. Rando link. Tempo link. All right, I like desperately need to go get food and use the bathroom. And yeah, so let's call it here for now. So where I left off, I don't know, I'll just read the notes. All right, I'll be back in like an hour. I want to stream for another at least like couple hours. But we'll see how it goes. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for being here. Hope you have a good Christmas, everybody. I will not, by the way, I'll stream in this afternoon for a little bit, but then I won't be streaming until Monday. So there'll be just one more stream for this week. Take care. Bye, everyone.